Yeah, I said I'm in love with my hood, just know my love ain't lust. Hater said he had my chick, just know my broads ain't touch. Don't be snitching on my clique and get my dog caged up. Look for smoke and get you all blazed up like a chimney. Aggressive with the ace when I hit your face with the mini-me. Have to switch the place when I use the K on the...
Hello. Damn, I forgot the episode. It's 26. 26. I think it's going to be the second episode of the new year. So happy New Year's. Because we definitely didn't say it last episode. But welcome back. The K&A podcast. With Kenny, Adrian, Checo, formal. Keeping it formal. How's everybody? Hope we're doing good. But today we have special guests. This is the podcast, especially for Adrian. I almost canceled until he told me who was coming on. Because he was really excited for this. So, Adrian, why don't you take the time, introduce the special guest that we have this week.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Two very special guests. I had this one circled on my calendar since the first moment I cut on the mic. So I'm going to introduce my uncle and my aunt.
Also your godfather. Remember that.
Also my godfather, Radames Rodriguez and Wynne Rodriguez. Welcome, guys.
Pleasure meeting you on podcast world. I thought this was for the old year. We're the second episode of the new year?
Yeah. Technically, yeah.
So we're getting pushed back even more. All right. Okay.
Wynne, it's nice to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're excited.
Super.
Nice to meet you guys. Yeah. Finally. I've been hearing very good things all the time since episode 1. How you guys feel today? How's everything?
We feel great.
We feel fantastic. We're very happy to be here. Yeah.
We came here from North Carolina and Tennessee just to be with Adrian and his family for the
I told Adrian this is the only time that you're going to be able to get us. So get us in.
I know. He literally forced me. He was like, "Yo, can you do it this day?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You're gonna have to." I was like, all right.
So, do you guys want to give a little background on yourselves before we start?
I'll let you start.
What kind of background?
Just where you grew up, your name.
So I grew up in Tennessee. My name's Wynne. Technically, I still have my first last name, which was Tyree. So my name's Wynne Tyree. I grew up in Tennessee, and I went away to college in the north. And then once I got my first job, it was in New York City. And that's when I met this guy. We were both working in Manhattan at the time. And then we started dating, got married, all the things. We ended up moving to Connecticut. We ended up quitting our jobs. I think it was in 2005, and started a business in 2005. And then in a day or so, it'll be our 20-year anniversary of that business. But then we've been married for about 22 or 23 years.
It'll be 24 years, September 1st, 2025.
Yeah, you almost hit in 25.
Yeah,
was it the silver anniversary?
I don't know.
One of those anniversaries.
I just started learning about the silver, gold, platinum, diamond.
Yeah.
I just started hearing about it.
That's only for the gift giving. That's the only reason they're wanting. Yeah.
What about you, Theo?
I was born and raised in New York City. I grew up in Williamsburg. I spent the first 13 years of my life there. And then I moved here to where we're at now, East New York. I moved here in 1984. And I had been here all my life. Adrian's grandparents live right down the block. And I left here, 2003. I don't remember. I moved with my best friend. Then I met my lovely wife in 1999. Something like that?
We met in 1999 and then got married in 2001.
Got married in 2001.
Yep.
And we lived in the famous Bronx. Then we lived in Connecticut. And then we moved to Tennessee. And now we live in North Carolina. And we've been all around the world and then some. But we've been having a lot of fun.
That's good. So how did your upbringing shape you guys' lives?
Well, I grew up, my dad was in the Marines, so my dad was very strict. My mom was very no-nonsense. So my parenting upbringing definitely shaped me to be very, driven, on top of things, very no-nonsense, zero margin of error. It was very kind of let's get at it. Very blue collar, very kind of working class and aspiration driven. So my parents were both small business owners at some point in their lives, and they were trying to kind of climb their way into a more stable middle class. And so I got a lot of those characteristics from them, I would say, of just wanting to do my own thing, own my own business, be my own person, be very strong and independent. I also had 2, kind of 3 older brothers, so I was surrounded by a lot of guys. And so my upbringing was not like Barbie dolls and, writing in a journal. It was very much like flag football or tackle football in the front yard.
She has great stories of her growing up. I hope she tells a story about breaking the guy's finger.
Oh my God.
That's a great
We're
story.
not telling that
man.
story.
Great story.
So I grew up quite a bit of a tomboy and have a lot of sort of like, even though I'm a girl, I very much have a lot of sort of male tendencies in terms of like drive, and not that that's a boy thing, but you get what I mean. Like, so I think my household was just a strong sort of household. And so I have a lot of that in my, yeah. And then my upbringing in Tennessee was very just humble, simple, no nonsense, no frills, you know, kind of inexpensive dinner at the kitchen table every night. Very, yeah. So when I went away to college, I met people where I was like, oh, who are these people that like get BMWs on their 16th birthday? Like, I've never met humans like this. So that was quite a culture shock. And then moving and living in New York City was definitely culture shock. Just seeing, like, being exposed to so many people from around the world and just so many cultures and languages. That is not Tennessee. I grew up in a very kind of singular sort of life, where everyone sort of might have been related, but they were definitely all kind of, we all sort of looked and talked the same and spoke the same language, of course. And yeah, once I left Tennessee, it was definitely a culture shock, but in a good way. And then I just wanted to kind of drink it in and learn lots of things kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the same way I was brought up was the same way. As you know, from your grandparents, very humble, work hard, put your head down, don't bother anyone. We definitely, you know, did not eat out because, you know, your grandmother, she thinks eating out is like eating at the devil's place. So you know how she is about that. But yeah, it was real humble. Just work hard, study, go to church, you know, all family related. I really didn't hang out with friends. It was all family. And then, as I got older, I started branching out, and that was a little bit of a struggle with my mother because, you know, she was used to having everyone together, and especially like the holidays, I would hang out with them, then I would go hang out with other people, and it was a problem. But it was all family. By the time Wynne and I met and we moved to Connecticut, it wasn't that much of a problem because I was married. For her, it's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and make your own life if you're not next to us. Definitely when we had our first daughter, she told us, because we were traveling a lot for our business, she told us, hey, why don't you just come and drop her off on Saturday, was it Sunday, and pick her up on Friday? And I was like, Mom, this is our first kid. We want to, like, see her. So, you know, we would like to see her. But she was like, no, I'll take care of her while you work. She's a very traditional Dominican grandmother, which Adrian knows because she took care of him and her sister for a very long time. And now she doesn't know what to do with herself because they're all grown up. So, yeah.
What is it about each other that stood out, like, to each of you about each other when you guys first met?
Oh, I'll start with that. The number one thing that stood out, which is very important, and I suggest you two do the same thing. Wynne was very independent. Wynne was not self-reliant. Wynne did not look at me.
I was self-reliant.
Oh, you were self-reliant.
Not reliant like on
Not
you.
relying on me. Like, she wasn't needy. She wasn't like, I got to be with you 24/7. Or can you do this? No, she was very self-reliant. She had 2 jobs. She did everything on her own. She had her own apartment, her own car in New York City. She had a car. I mean, she was great. And I felt like I could go somewhere by myself with my friends, and I did not have to worry about Wynne calling me every 5 minutes. Go, where are you? Can you pick me up? Can you come with me? I had girlfriends like that. No. It was like, I'd rather stay single than have a girlfriend like that ever again. When I met Wynne, that was the first thing that stood out. And of course, she was beautiful. She was smart. She was funny, very funny. Little story about she wants to be a comedian. Nobody knows that, but she wants to be a comedian. She is very funny. But the biggest thing was how independent she was. And that with me was a tremendous attraction for me, along with all the other gifts that you can see. And we just balance each other perfectly. I mean, like perfectly. Yeah.
I think he just had baggage from a clingy ex-girlfriend prior
No,
to
all
me.
the girlfriends were clingy. Every single one of them.
That's true. Yeah. He was. Yeah, you did talk about that a lot. You're like, you're so independent. I'm like, aren't all humans like
No.
this? And he was like, nah, they're not. So, and what attracted me to Radames was, hello. I mean, what a cutie pie. I still think he's so handsome.
20 years ago. 20 years ago.
We were many pounds ago and many wrinkles ago, but yes.
Less gray hair.
All the things, just all the things. Our wedding picture looks great. But anyway, I definitely thought he was cute. And I mean, if you know Radames, which I know you do, he's just so others focused. He's so outgoing and gregarious and talkative and life of the party, but he's very there's no ego. It's just all about other people. It's all about making others feel good. And he was just always like a kind boyfriend. Like he wasn't like a cheater. He wasn't a like up to something kind of guy. Like he was just like a very simple, down to earth, straightforward. What you see is what you get. Like nothing shady. And I was like, who are you? Like you're too good to be true. And so yeah, I was just drawn to his personality and his charisma and just so nice and kind and humble. And
she thought I was hiding something. See, you're too perfect. Do you have another family I don't know about? I'm like,
I did
no,
think
I
that.
don't.
I kept thinking like, when's the shoe gonna drop? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I was scared that like some woman was gonna call me one day and be like, "Are you with my husband?" And I was gonna be like, "I knew it. It was too good to be true. He has a whole other family."
Well, also she had dated some other Dominican guys that things went left. So I was like, I'm nothing like that at all. So don't worry about it.
It's a real bad rap for Dominican. It's a real
No
bad rap.
disrespect to all my Dominican brothers, but
Okay, I used to teach kickboxing and step aerobics at this gym in the Bronx that was like all Dominicans, and so it just things, yeah. And I was like, and then I met him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so nice and kind, and not that Dominican men are not, but just very interested in like having one person to date, which was a little different. So I'll say that. Yeah.
I kind of want to get into what made you guys leave New York and want to have a fresh start.
Ooh.
Well, I could definitely say I did not want to leave New York at first because of my family, because I knew it was very important for my family. But my wife is the financial mind of our relationship. And when she put pen to paper, and we were living in Connecticut at the time. We had how big was the house? Like 1,200
No, we
square
lived
feet?
in the Bronx.
No, then we moved to Connecticut.
Oh, right. But
And-
what made us move out of the city?
When we were in Connecticut, we wanted to get a bigger house in Connecticut. And we looked at
But
the price.
before that, he's asking, why did we
when
want
you
to
were
leave New York
to the
City?
Bronx or leaving the
leave
whole
New York in
tri-state?
general? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Financial. It was just
I think
financial.
that, yeah, for me, it makes no sense to rent forever. Not a diss to anyone who rents, but like, just in terms of like life and equity and owning something. And we just didn't feel, and we just weren't at a time in our lives where we could afford to own anything in New York City. So we just need to leave New York to own something. So that led to us being in Connecticut. And then where we could kind of get like a small starter home. And then once we were there and kind of got had our first mortgage and all that kind of stuff, it was like, okay, we can do this. Like we can do this. And then as our family got bigger and as we were traveling a lot, that's what led to like, wait, I think we need a bigger house. But the house pricing in Connecticut was like, wait, this might be out of our reach.
Yeah.
And plus we really did need family help. And so the commute from Connecticut to Brooklyn, not so easy. And so we ended up moving to Tennessee where my family was from so that my mom could help raise the kids.
Who was 20 minutes away
Yeah.
with no traffic.
Right.
No traffic.
And-
You get there. The way you guys drive, you guys get there in 10 minutes.
So
Yeah.
it really was like
I
kind
drive
of
safe.
family support. And then also, I mean, honestly, we got a little bit tired of the rat race too, because
Yeah.
for our business, we were traveling a lot, like by plane. And just to get back, just fighting 95
LaGuardia and all
just
that.
the
It was a
air-
disaster.
Like, I felt like I was living half my life on 95 at LaGuardia in traffic. It just was like, this doesn't feel like the right way to live. Again, no disrespect to anyone who wants to live that life. But I think because we needed to travel for work a lot and it just wasn't convenient, there's not really a good airport anywhere near us in Connecticut where we lived. And it just made sense for us to go somewhere where like 15 minutes away was an airport that like literally was small enough that when we first moved there were some times where I was like stuck in traffic on the little highway and I would literally call the airport
We called the gate. Hold
and
the plane
say,
for us.
can you not take off? I'm on my way. There's an accident. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, where am I?
They
One
knew us.
second.
That's
We
crazy.
went there so many times. Like, oh, hey, Wynne, it's good to see you again. Sure, come on in.
But there's only like 30 people getting
Yeah.
on the plane. So like, it just is different. Nobody's calling LaGuardia and saying hold the
No,
plane for
they
me.
knew our kids. There's only 6 gates in the Tri-Cities airport.
Yeah.
And we used to connect from
I
there
think
to
only 2 of
Charlotte
them
and
work.
whenever we went. Only 2 of them work.
Yeah, I
So it was
think-
easy. It was just a lot
It's just
easier.
different.
Crazy.
It was a lot easier than going from Connecticut to LaGuardia. It was a pain in the butt. And we used to get stuck in traffic and I hated it. And then she convinced me, goes, let's move to Tennessee. And we moved. And the house that we bought in Tennessee, we could put our entire Connecticut home in the house in Tennessee and have room to spare. That's
It's
it.
just a different cost
It's
of
just-
living.
yeah.
It's just a different. Well, it was convenience.
Yeah.
So it's all a trade off. Like,
I mean, I was gonna ask if it was if it wasn't for financial problems, would y'all have stayed in New York? Because I feel like if it's just to travel, then it's on automatic no to me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I was a little bit get done with the smell of urine. I don't know. That was a little bit.
You could get tired of that.
We were living in Connecticut. There was no urine up there.
Well, he just meant like what? I guess I feel like he was talking about leaving New York in the first place.
And
But
also-
you mean like kind of leave the New York area? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that we miss, and then I do feel like, in all honesty, the city's changed. Well, at least in New York, I feel like the city's changed a lot. I don't know that. It was really a family thing. Like, to me, like, the city was not really a place where I wanted to raise a kid. Like, I just, growing up, having a backyard, riding a bike on the street, all that kind of stuff made me think that's what childhood should be. So in my mind, it was like, okay, we have kids. They need a yard. We need, I don't know, that it just, I
Plus we were
wanted like
think-
a single family home with grass and.
We were thinking also about school, like where we lived in Norwalk. I don't know if the public school where we lived was that great. So it means we have to put them in private school, which meant more money. We moved to
Yeah.
Tennessee. We put them in the public school. They were perfectly fine. You know, we added to their education, Wynne and I, but it was perfectly fine. It was
Yeah.
safe. There was no problems. I didn't have to worry about some guy going in and stabbing them or selling cocaine in front of the school. I don't know, something crazy like that. Because I
That
grew up in
happens all
it,
the
but I
time.
grew up because my parents lived there, so I had to grow up. But I always felt safe. I didn't know how my kids were going to feel, and I didn't know how I was going to translate that to them because they didn't grow up there. So when we made the move, when we moved to Tennessee, we kept the house in Connecticut for a month just to see how it was going to work out. And after a month, I told her, I'm like, honey, let's just sell
It
the
was more
house.
like a year, not a month.
No, it was like less than 6 months. We decided to sell it.
Now it's 6 months.
Well, 6 months.
It's a
Yeah,
month
well,
and then
same
again.
thing.
Somewhere
Yeah.
between 1 month and 1 year.
It wasn't a year. I don't think it was a year.
We kept it a long time.
Yeah.
Because we were worried because we were like, wait, have we made a big mistake?
Well, you didn't want to go back because you had feelings about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like
that's
she didn't want to go back to where she grew up at. And I'm like, am I going backwards? Because I'm going, but she.
I almost felt
yeah.
like it was like going backwards a
Yeah.
little bit in life where I'm like, I already went to this Taco Bell when I was 17. Like, am I back here? Did I do all this work to get back to this same Taco Bell? So there was a little bit of that. But then once we got there, I was like, yes, let's just stay.
Right.
And it really, so yes, there was a financial piece when we were kind of more on like the come up. And then there was the family piece. Like, we just needed help with childcare. That was like Radames, who again grew up in a very like strong Spanish household. When we started our business, he was like, okay, we're not having a nanny raise the kids. Like, that's not who I am. That's not how my family is. We're not doing this. If we're going to be busy and if we need help, it's got to be family. So I was like, okay, it's either going to be your family or mine. So it just kind of ended up being mine for commuting purposes.
And since we had the business, we used to travel a lot. So I was like, okay, you know what? If we move to Tennessee, we have to travel to New York once a month, twice. So I'll see them. And now it's old hat now by now. You know, it's all good.
Looking back, do you guys have any regrets about leaving New York?
About leaving New York?
New York and Connecticut.
I miss
The pizza. I regret the pizza.
I miss good
The
food.
pizza in the South sucks.
I miss good well, again, not that the South doesn't have culture, but I miss like cultural opportunities. I miss diversity. I miss hearing different languages and different accents and meeting different people from all over the world. I miss sometimes being uncomfortable. That's just like good for growth. I miss
the walking. Like you
Yes,
don't walk
we
in the
miss-
South.
yes.
So I miss the walking. I miss the ability to walk down a block and discover something
Yes.
new. Even though
Like-
it's not, for me, not like that anymore. But before I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you turn the corner, you see this shop from Switzerland that's selling these knickknacks that you
Yeah.
never could find anywhere else. I miss that a lot. So we used to travel up here as much as we can, get our fix, and then leave. But the walking, the food, my parents cooking, my family, like, you know, seeing these guys grow up. I mean,
Most of our friends a lot of our friends are still here
Yeah.
too. Like, they kind of moved to the suburbs. They moved to Long Island or
Westchester.
or Rockland County. Or
Yeah.
but we still feel like our people are sort of here. I miss people. Yeah.
my
And
wife definitely misses the
miss-
intellectual stimulation, without a
I
doubt.
do. What? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the South, but there's a lot of discussion of sports and
Church.
football and just a lot of golf and
Pinterest.
sports. I don't know. A lot of like, I like being around people who are like thinking about like ideas and things. And sometimes I can get a little like, shoot me for being here. Like, or especially, again, I don't know if this is true. This is my personal experience. So again, edit this out. I feel like in the South, it's a little bit more gender role-ish. And so when we are now as adults, very often we'll go somewhere and like the men will just all talk to the men and the women will all talk to the women. And I feel like sometimes, love you, all women, I sometimes get stuck at like the talking about lunchboxes table. And I'm like, kill me, I want to talk about finance and something about taking over the world. Or like, I wanted to be at like the boys' table, but I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like in New York, there's just a lot more kind of like discussion, like men will come over and just shake your hand and look you in the eye and talk to you. And it's a little bit different there where it's like, we're going to be over here and you go talk about commuting back and forth to school with the kids. Or
I get stuck with
I get stuck in the stay-at-home mom pod.
I get stuck with the guys talking about their high school, their college. I'm like, I didn't go to none of these schools. What the hell do I care? I'm going to be your alma mater and this and that. I don't care. And I'm like, okay, just give me another drink and I'll just fake it.
Mind you, there's a million great things about the South.
Yes.
That's just one of my little sort of pet peeves.
So sometimes we have to switch. I go to the women and I say, hey, this damn traffic in the school sucks.
Car line
is a disaster. Can we fix this?
Yeah, so I do miss that a little bit.
2005 was the birth of Smarty Pants. How did you guys summon the courage to quit your jobs, move to Tennessee, start a brand fresh new life, and the rest is history?
We essentially said, screw the man. No, that's not what you said. But we have a very good story about this. When you could tell us.
I do?
Yeah. How we started Smart? Is that what you're asking? How we started Smarty Pants? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's my little feminist moment for you guys. At the time, let me think. I'm going backwards. Let's see. I don't know where I should start.
You were working at Just Kid.
Don't say that.
Oh, sorry. You can edit
I was
that out.
working at a company. I really liked what I did, and I'd gotten good at what I was doing, but I wasn't totally crazy about the organization I was doing it within, shall I say. So I essentially sort of got the nerve in a like, oh, maybe I could do this on my own. And then blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to I had my first kid. So when she came out, it was a girl. And I remember sort of, it's weird when you're nursing a child and it's 3 a.m. and you're kind of delirious. It's also like a beautiful time because you're like thinking about what could be, but you're also kind of half delirious. And so I remember one night kind of like rocking her and nursing her and being like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe a whole human, like I'm responsible for them, like what? Like, and then I remember thinking like, what do I want for her? And I was like, okay, I want her to be strong and happy and independent, and I want her to be able to make her own money, and I want her to be this. And I started listing kind of all these things in my mind that I want for her. And then I had this moment where I was like, wait, I'm not even that person. Like I need, because at the time I was sort of running myself ragged, traveling a lot, doing, this sounds very not nice, but like I felt like I was doing too much work to make some other person rich. And that's kind of what I felt like. I was like, it was just too much of a grind, and I could see, and the business was small enough where I'm like, I think he's just kind of like making all the money, and I'm the one who's like off in Japan, going to Brazil. Well, like what? I'm never going to see my kid because I'm not calling my own shots. I'm not doing my own thing. But like, so honestly, even though yes, there were lots of business reasons where I felt like, wait, there's an opportunity. Like I could do this. Like I know what I'm doing. I've measured twice. I'm going to cut, you know, like I had really like been careful about scoping it out. A big reason was just starting a family, and a big reason was having a kid and having a daughter and thinking about what do I want for her. And then I was like, wait, I need to model what I would want for my own what I would want for her. So it became a little bit of like a personal quest of like, there were selfish reasons for it too, of just wanting to have more independence, wanting to, not kind of have my chain yanked all the time to like go here, do this, like work all night, work all weekend. Like it was just too much. This was back when people in their 20s used to just work their asses off. Y'all don't do that anymore. But where it was just, the grind never stopped. It was just a different time. And so I wasn't happy. So it came from not happy, plus I did really feel like there was a business opportunity there. And then just kind of like personal and parenting kind of reasons where I was like, I want to have a kid who's brave enough to do things. And then I was like, I want to be brave enough to do things. So I started incubating the idea. I floated it past my husband, and he was like, hard no, we're shutting that down. And I was like, wait, what?
I didn't shut it down. I am just a little bit more risk averse, like your grandmother, which you know very well. I came from a very risk averse family. And I was like, all I thought about was like, okay, if we both quit our jobs, who's going to pay for this mortgage that we have, and this insurance, and all this other stuff,
and the health
and
care,
the kid, and the health care. And then one day, my wonderful wife told me, listen, you don't know me for very long. We're married, but you don't know me for very long. Whatever I put my mind to, I succeed. So either you get on the bus or you get run over by the bus. And I was like, okay, that's all I needed. Once she said that, I was
Little
like,
bit of
okay, if she is that self-assured and she knows what she's doing, and I know I was going to help her, I know we were going to do this together, but she knew way more than I did, but I could help her in a variety of ways. I'm like, if she's that sure about it, then let's rock and roll. Let's go for it. And that was the last time I ever doubted her. And I remember I was sitting behind the sink washing the dishes, and she told me that, and she walked away, and I was like, okay, let's go. And I never doubted her, never was nervous, nothing.
Well, I feel like, again, I was on maternity leave, so I had a lot of time. And when you first have a baby, you're kind of like, what do they do? What am I supposed to do for like 24 hours? You're just like in your own head a lot, and you're kind of like day turns into night, night turns into day. So I basically started baking up a business plan, and then during that maternity leave, just started like meeting with consultants, going to banks, thinking about, talking to lawyers, talking to account, like really did my homework on like writing up a business plan. What would this look like? How would this feel? What's the opportunity here? Could this work? And really, so by the time I'd gotten it kind of in my mind incubated to the point where it was like a real business, and then I was like, honey, what do you think? And he's like, who would pay the healthcare? I'm like, oh my God, enough with you and this damn healthcare. Like, he just would not get out of his own way enough. So then, yes, there was a
Big
day.
shout out to my mom for that mindset.
It's good. I guess marriages need to be a yin and a yang. Like, two crazy high risk people would not be good.
No.
But he was being a little too like stick in the mud, a little too like, well, my mom told me you're always supposed to make your employer happy forever. And I'm like, I can't with you.
I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I was completely scared because there was no one I knew had ever done it. And, the only people I knew that went off on their own opened up a damn bodega. That's all they did.
Yeah.
And they just worked on it for 20 years. And then I'm like, then they left. And I was like, you're still in the same place you were 20 years ago. That's the only thing I knew. But,
yeah.
So,
yes, there was that day where like, it was starting to get real in my mind, and I was starting to get excited about it. And then when he kept being a buzzkill, then I did just kind of lose my temper one day where I was like, hey, you've only known me for like, I think maybe 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
I was like, you've only known me for like 5. But listen, if I want to do something, I'm gonna make it happen. Like, get on the bus. Or I think I just told you to get the F out of the way. I don't think I told you I was gonna run over you.
You said you were gonna run over me. That's exactly what you said.
Okay, well then I told him I was gonna run over him with the bus. But then you quickly were like, oh, she's serious.
Yeah.
And then you quickly said, well, if you're gonna do that, I will support that. But I'm raising Ella.
I did not want a nanny or pay
then
$3,000 for the no damn daycare in Connecticut. I was like, we're going to be working from home. You and I are going to be working this business. We could take care of the kid. We could do it.
Also, the way I had the same resolve about the business, you had that same resolve about the parenting. He was like, I'm like, really, you're going to be like a stay-at-home dad? And he was like, yeah, I've got this. I know how to do this. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, the same confidence that I had, I felt like you had. And I could almost kind of let that go. Not that I wasn't raising my own kid, but again, the confidence. And then it was just like, okay.
A lot of watching squirrels through the window when I was raising Ella.
Yeah. When you first have a baby, and if you're kind of not working, there's a lot of like.
If you guys ever parents, you'll understand there's a lot of downtime.
It's like, what is this sack of potatoes going to do all day? Until they get moving and all that stuff. So, but that was the time that we started the business, when we just had a lot of time on our hands. I was on maternity leave, then he went on a paternity leave.
Right.
So during that kind of 3 or 4 months that I had, the 3 or 4 months that he had, that sort of 6 or 8 months led to like, we can do this. Like, we got this. And just started to get in a groove. And
in 2005, we went to spend Christmas in Tennessee with her mother, and we started down there making phone calls, calling people. And she was nervous, and so was I, but we were just dialing for dollars. For dollars.
And I remember, that was a lot. We're jumping forward to your next questions, I'm sure. But there was definitely the startup phase where it's like, there's nothing glamorous about it. There's you got nothing, you got no income. You're thinking, to your point, are we going to be able to pay the mortgage this month? Like, what's going to happen? And then I made very clear that I was, I wasn't ethically supposed to, but I'm sure I was under some sort of contract anyway. I didn't reach out to or contact any of the clients that I had in the past from my former company. So I was literally starting from scratch, and I'm not a cold calling kind of person, but it became this kind of like, almost like a cold calling, like, hey, I have a service for you. And they're like, who are you? Shut up. And then it was just like rejection after rejection after rejection. And then I would be crying, and then I'd go to Radames, and I would like be like, okay, pretend I'm that boxer in the ring right now, and put some Vaseline on my eye, and send me back out there. And he was like, you got this.
I cut her.
And
cut her eye.
The little
Opened it up.
thing. and like seal me up, and then I'd go back. I'm like, thank you, I needed that, and then I'd just like go back at it, and then I'd hear a baby crying in another room, and I'd be like, take care of that while I'm taking care of this, and then we somehow just did.
But she was so good. I'll tell you when our first client came to us, they looked her up in
That's
the yellow
true.
pages in the town of Norwalk. That's how they found us. They
That's
called
true.
our house, and they were like, "Is this Wynne Tyree's house?" Like, yes, it is. My ass is called, and it was a client that she had worked with.
Yeah, that's.
And they found her through the yellow pages.
They're like, we've been calling your office and you haven't picked up in like 3 months. I'm like, I don't work there anymore. And they're like, we know, we need you to do some candy research for us. And I was like, yes, the answer's yes. Like,
Whatever you want, we'll do
the
it.
answer's yes, I will do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, sorry. We detoured there for a second. What else did you mean to ask us, Adrian?
So what was the mindset that you had when you first started it? What were you saying to yourself in your head, like, I need to do this, this has to work? Or was it kind of
Yes.
just like flip-flop?
No.
No.
It had to work.
I am of the mindset, so if you're a listener and you're doing your own thing, I don't like a plan B. To me, like, plan B is just for losers. Like, no, there is no plan B. Plan A or bust or live under a bridge. Like, make it happen. Like, no. It was, and I remember telling you that too. You're like, what if? What? I'm like, enough with the what ifs. If all that energy could be going into the plan A energy, like, just. So to me, it was it is going to happen. It will happen.
Throw everything at the wall,
Not-
everything you got.
Just to be
Yeah.
clear, because you like eating food, you shouldn't go start a restaurant. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I knew what I did for a living and had, again, kind of researched and studied and homeworked and
There was a gap.
knew that there was sort of an
Right.
industry gap for me to kind of go into. So it was a very calculated risk. I'm not a fan of dumb risk. But if you have a calculated risk, like, I was very all in. It was like from the jump. It was like this or bust. And the bust, I never gave myself permission to think about the bust. Because
No.
to me, that was just wasted
Energy.
mind space and energy. And every time it would come from you, I shut it down. And then it stopped coming.
Stopped?
It stopped in like a month probably.
Yeah. I was like,
But yeah, I'm of the mindset of like, if you're going to do something, just do it. Like, I don't know, doesn't Yoda say like do or do not? There is no try. Like, I don't know.
Is that Star Wars?
Is that
Yeah.
a Star
I
Wars?
never watched
quote?
Star Wars.
What?
I feel
You
like,
either?
I feel
Me
like there's
neither.
me neither.
You're a big manga guy. You don't watch Star Wars?
Yo, I love manga. I just can't watch Star Wars.
Maron.
can't.
It's not my jam either.
Holy cow.
There's some saying of like do or do not.
Right.
I mean,
Do or do not, or
Yeah.
not do. That's Yoda.
whatever. Yoda said it.
I'm sure he said it.
Or a famous person who's not an imaginary character. But yes, I'm a big fan of like just do something. Don't try to do something or don't be like, I think I'm gonna tinker with it. Tinkering does not work. Like, it's either balls to the wall or get out. Like,
That's one thing she's helped me with is she's very focus driven and she's very goal oriented and finish what you started. I tend to be this analogous going all over the place. Let's start this. Let's go over there. No, she kept me. She's a very strong discipline, and that's one that she's given to me is discipline. To like start something, finish it, then go on to the next thing. I have a tend to start, go make a left turn, start this, make a right. She doesn't like so. I have learned self-discipline because of her, and I am very appreciative of that.
Oh, thank you.
But the business, yeah, thank God the business took off as it did.
So you kind of got into like the backstory, but for the people that don't know, what is Smarty Pants?
So we are a market research and consulting firm. So basically, corporations hire our company to do the consumer product research and testing behind the scenes. So we don't sell anything directly to people. We're the people who a corporation hires us to kind of be that third party to go and figure out like, what does Adrian like? What does he want in his tea? What does he want to watch? And so we're people who do focus groups, if you know what that is. Like, we might hold a discussion group to get insights and learning from consumers about products or services. And then we analyze all, like aggregate it all, analyze it all, write reports, do presentations, then I'll go back to the companies that hire us and say, okay, here's an example. Product A isn't selling because of ... and we're the ones who say the ... because we've done an online survey. If you've ever done like an online survey, like not like a little quick and dirty, like 2-question thing, but like a full, like, we're going to give you $15 or $20 if you'll spend 20 minutes, like really telling us what you think about this water or whatever. So our clients kind of run the gamut from like entertainment clients, technology clients. Now, 20 years later, we work with like the biggest like corporations in the world, like the in technology and retail, food and beverage. So, but over time, in the beginning, it might have been like a small business, or it might have been
Candy company.
Yeah, or like a
We
small
worked with a
candy-
manga company out of
Yes,
San
we've done a
Francisco.
lot of-
We did a lot of that.
We've done a lot of
Yeah.
manga work over the years for Konami, for Viz Media, for and actually our very first client was manga based.
Yeah, manga based.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
very first client, because I knew her. But anyway, we're basically the behind the scenes kind of consultants to corporations who help them optimize their products, their marketing, their kind of innovation pipelines. So
Any new products coming out, they want to try them out, see how they like with the
Right.
consumers. We gather people like yourselves up, and we ask them, hey, do you like this? Do you not
Right.
like this? And we take all your suggestions or criticisms. We put them in a nice, beautiful board, and we give to our clients what we think they should do. Now, they can do whatever they want with it, but we
Right.
do our job. And we have a staff of wonderful people that we've worked with for over, some people we've known for about as long as the company's been, longer than that.
Yeah.
Wynne used to work at a major advertising company here in New York that she had known before. And when we started Smarty Pants, we asked 2 or 3 of those people to come aboard, and they came on. They've been with us since the beginning. They're considered like the foundation of this company. Yeah.
yeah. So it is weird because you can't, like, we don't own a store.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't come buy pants. Like, it's we're a consultant.
We're not the
firm.
vitamin company either. We're not
There
Smarty
is a
Pants.
Smarty Pants vitamins now. Where we're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll hijack
All
our
my
name,
friends
but
call me and go,
whatever.
hey, do you know this vitamin company took your name? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, they didn't.
But originally the name came from, so when we first started, we really specialized in like the youth and family market, because what I knew a lot about and what my clients were at the time was Nickelodeon, Lego, McDonald's. Like there was this explosion of like marketing to children that came along in like the 90s and early 2000s, where it was like marketers started to realize, wait, if we talk to kids or teens, like now we have a new consumer segment now, you know what I mean? And so like kids started to have more influence. Now forget it, like they just run the world. But at the time, this was kind of like a new thing. So as this was emerging, what we were doing was really positioning ourselves as like, if you want to know about kids and if you want to know how to make a 3-year-old happy, how to make a 15-year-old happy, like we're the company to come to. So Smarty Pants was this kind of like, we're smart and we're consultants, but a little bit of like a playful, youthful name, and that's where it came from. So now we still do a lot in the kid space, but now we're also doing stuff for like, you know, major technology companies or retail companies like a Target or a NBC Universal. And sometimes our work is still with kids and families, but sometimes it has nothing to do with kids and families at all, just because the business has grown over time. And sometimes we're helping a healthcare company figure out like, how do you make senior citizens healthier, you know, and they're paying us hundreds of thousands of dollars to like interview a bunch
Or how to
of-
help senior citizens use technology
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We do a lot of that. So we've expanded. We've definitely expanded.
So yeah, basically we're a bunch of nerds. Some of those nerds, in a positive way, business nerds. Some of those nerds do what you guys do. They basically ask questions. They're what we would consider like a qualitative researcher. They're like digging and trying to find. They might go shopping with you. They might come to your house with you. They might interview you. And then we have like data nerds, who are the ones who might program a survey or calculating the data, or like, okay, people prefer this product, you know, 3 times more than this product. But then, do you know? So it's a combo of those kind of more talky question asking folks and the more data driven and kind of data scientist folks. But all that comes together, and then we go back to the companies and make them recommendations. And they tend to like us and come back.
Yeah, they really do.
But I'm all about the grind. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes think of our clients and our business like you're raking the leaves on a fall day, where it's like, just grab the rake, just start raking. The pile's gonna get bigger. It just will. Just keep raking. And yes, there's gonna be some leaves that fly away or whatever, but just
There'll be some wind.
keep raking. There'll be some wind. There'll be some setbacks. There'll be some stuff, but like just keep raking.
But most
And
of the
then
leaves come back.
most of the leaves fly back. In the
Yeah,
pile.
they fly back into the pile.
Yeah. Anyway, did that even answer your questions of what we do? Like,
Are we
do-
answering all your questions?
do we, sometimes we get phone calls. We're like, "Do you guys sell pants?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Are you guys a diaper company?" I'm like, "No."
I get a lot of emails from China asking us for apparel. I'm like, we
Yeah.
don't sell.
A lot of we can
yeah.
help you with your supply chain
Yeah.
issues on your diapers. I'm like, I don't know.
I just write back, we don't sell pants. And then I translate it in Chinese to send it back to them.
We don't sell pants.
Maybe you should sell some merch now. Maybe that's your sign to sell
Exactly. I mean, we
merch.
do really
We
have
thought
some
about
cute
that,
Smarty
but
Pants
that's a
gear,
pain
but
in
we
the
don't
ass.
sell it to it. But we could. We we should do that.
We have great pens that light up. We do have that.
That's so stupid, but we do have these. It's so dumb. Some of our just company swag. Sometimes people get excited about it. We're like, "Are you excited about this pen?" Because we have these Smarty Pants pens that you click it and then
it lights up.
It literally has a light in it, and people are always like, "Where'd you get this?" And we're like, "Okay, China for $1.50," but they're very excited about this light up pen. I'm like, "Hey, you do you." It's it makes people excited.
So when Smarty Pants started, it was a small team. You guys
Yep.
had big dreams. How did you create an environment where creativity and innovation thrive?
Ooh.
That's a pretty good question, Adrian. Did you come up with that by yourself?
Yeah.
That's a very good one.
Do you want to work at Smarty Pants? I don't know that we did.
Well, I think the fact that we work from home. We never had we never had an office. We always worked. We worked from home before working from home was cool. So we did that, and so that allowed our employees to work at their own pace, work at their their own comfortable environment, whatever they wanted to do, and all we care about was hey, just get the work done when it needs to be done, and it just gave them a lot more freedom. They felt like they were not under the gun, they were not being micromanaged, and the people in the beginning were people that we had worked with before, so we understood and we knew how each other's work styles. We knew each other personally and professionally, which helps a lot. Due to the fact that we're not together, so that's very hard. And we were just dealing at that time was just phone. It wasn't even video.
No,
it was strictly phone.
Video.
It was all phone. So that gave us the freedom and the ability for them to work on their own pace and as long as they got the job done. And there was a lot of collaboration over email and phone. But the fact that we knew each other professionally and personally, that helped a lot. And then as we got bigger, we were like a root, and then the branches came out, and then those branches sprouted other branches because they brought in people that they knew, and it just all became one big. Now it's the oak tree than it is now. Smarty Pants.
Oh, sorry, I probably just busted your sound system up on that. And in all honesty, in the beginning, I think there was okay. So 2-part would be my answer on this, and a little 2-part response. One, our clients sort of demand it. So clients are coming to us because they're trying to figure out how do we break away from our competition? How do we go to market with something more innovative? How can we bring something to, a TV commercial or an online ad that's more creative? So it's our clients are sort of leading us there. Do you know what I mean? So we have to be smart, creative, innovative. We have to, because that's what they're paying us for. We have to, that's the game that we're in, and kind of the game that we're playing. So that would be part one, is that clients sort of lead you there and demand it, or else they won't come back, in terms of just creativity and what you're delivering.
And there were other research companies, but they were all she said, cookie cutter. They all did the same thing.
Yeah.
And they all expected, well, this is what we're going to do. But so we brought something fresh and new, especially
because it was kids too. Because there was just always something that could be youth inspired that would allow us to be you know what we could do, instead of doing a traditional focus group, let's do, and then we'd put some sort of let's create play dates, and instead of asking 6 kids questions around a table, let's go to their house and play with Legos on the floor with them, and then ask them questions. You know what I mean? We were always just trying to the youth angle gave us a little bit of permission to be creative and put a spin on it. And then in all honesty, I think I would say now we're more creative than we were back in the beginning, because in all honesty, I'm a recovering control freak. And in the beginning, I think if you would ask employees who are around 15 or 20 years ago, they'd be like, there was no creativity. It was do what Wynne says or you're out. It's I had created this thing that I had a vice grip around, and my growth as a leader and the qualities that we were talking about earlier, those are not qualities of a leader. Those are qualities of a person who's driven or a person who's a doer. But I've had to grow up a lot over the years in terms of just letting people go, letting people display their own creativity, letting people have all their own innovative thoughts. But early in the day, it was what do I want? And if you can't execute, I'm mad at you. It was just almost a professional immaturity, because being a leader is a whole different thing. You know what I mean? But
we were small.
That's an acquired skill set
that
I've had to work on for.
Yeah. We were small, and we wanted to make sure that we kept the idea of Smarty Pants the way we created it. We had to make sure everybody's got to follow that template. And then as the years have gone,
creativity and innovation, though. No. It breeds people feeling like I'm working under an iron fist, which nobody wanted. So, yeah, that was there's been push and pull in that area, but that requires professional development from me as a leader, from us as leaders, to just let people grow.
Which we have done.
Yeah.
Which is why we're where we at right now. Because of that. Yeah.
When you guys did that, did you guys see more profit? Did you guys see more clients coming back when you let your team be who they were and bring more creativity?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that if you have a business model that's based on one or two people as like the X factor of that organization, it's only ever going to be as big as those people can make. Like, that's not scalable. You know what I mean? But then once I stopped, again, recovering control freak, once I stopped thinking, why can't such and such be just like me? That was kind of like my mindset early of like, I'm trying to find a bunch of unicorns who are hardwired like me. And then instead realized, oh, Adrian's his own version of that. Let me just go let Adrian be Adrian. It still has to meet our standards. It still has to be excellent. But it doesn't have to be the Wynne way. Now that's scalable. Now you can go, like you were talking about, and create your branch of a tree. Now you go create your branch of a tree. Now the tree's growing and just in a different way than people trying to figure out, like, how do I please the leader? Like, that's not very scalable, if that makes sense. Like,
we have unicorns of different colors now.
Yeah, and
that's
so now we have
yeah.
people who are just doing different things. I mean, it's been years too since I've seen anybody's work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not looking at anybody's work. Like, they're grown ass people. Like, these are people who are highly educated, highly competent. They know what they're doing. Like, they don't need me to like oversee their work. They need me to give them permission. They need me to give them ideas at time. They need me now to set up the structure that allows for creativity and allows for innovation. But when the business was much smaller, it wasn't like that.
No.
Like, when you're trying to grow a mom and pop, and which is kind of literally what it was a mom and pop business, to like, now we need a helper or two. That's kind of the way I treated people, was like my helper. Like, and then it's like, oh wait, now they're not going to be an employee. Like, so that's been a thing in a good way.
It's been a process, but it's
in a good way.
I think it's what every business goes through. You go through your ups and downs, especially leadership, and then either you keep the same structure and you crumble, or you grow up both personally and business, and it flourishes.
Like, imagine if there's like a baker who like owns a bakery, and like that guy or that woman or whatever is the one who's like the master baker. Well, the bakery's only ever going to be as big as that guy or that girl. You know what I mean? But if once that baker stops thinking like, you have to decorate every cake like me, and is like, Adrian, you go decorate your own, then you'll almost like have a little flourishing business of your own within their business. And then and it just grows in a different way. But like, a lot of businesses stay small because the leaders won't let go, because it's like, wait, it's my vision, it's my thing. And many years ago, we realized, like, this ain't my thing anymore.
I would tell Wynne, I said, if you drop dead, what's going to happen? I ain't going to lead it the way you lead. I'll tell you that right now.
But now, if I dropped dead, no one would care.
Oh yeah, nobody would care. I would care.
People would care, but you get what I mean. Like, a business is a business once it can do without its leader. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a thriving, grow. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm excited by our potential and now what's still to come, more so than looking back, just because there's sort of generations of, not literal age generations, but there's generations of people within our company now where it's like, there were people who were kind of my proteges that are now, 10 years ago they were the leaders of some proteges, and now they're the executive staff of the other people who those people are leaders, they're proteges. Like, you can just see it like kind of spider webbing out, and that's exciting. Like, it's like
a baseball team. You know, you have a minor league team and you promote to the majors. We've promoted many people to the majors. You start in the minors, you go through your kicks, you learn everything, and then you get promoted. And we've gotten some tremendous all-stars on our team now, without a doubt. Yeah.
I'm sure owning a company, there's many times that things don't go as planned. How do you guys stay motivated through those tough times?
A lot of drinking. Well, I drink for her.
Oh, wait, is he for real?
Oh.
No, I meant, is a question for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, that's tough. I have been through, I personally, you can speak for yourself, I personally have been through those waves where I'm like, what am I doing? I feel lost. I feel like it's a thing to stay.
But you mean as a company or us individually?
Individually.
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah. I think it's a thing that everyone goes through.
Yeah.
I think on their own different wavelengths. Like, I know her, she has like since she's on the top and she does a lot less work than she used to, she's like, what am I doing? Like, she does a lot of, there's some stuff that you don't like as a president.
Yes. Okay.
Like a lot
Can
of
we just cut this whole section and let's start all over again? I feel like we messed this one up. What was the question again? How do we stay motivated?
How do you stay motivated through those tough times?
Grit.
determination.
Needing to switch things up. Like for me personally, if I find that things are too much the same for too long and I'm starting to feel lost about like, what am I doing here? This sounds bitchy. I need to go on a vacation or something. I need water. I need something to like get me in a different headspace to remind me like, why are you doing this? What is the purpose? What value can you add to your organization? What's the next move in this Like I got to get out of my own environment. Like I need to go on a trip. I need to be in a plane. I need something to just like, I know that sounds stupid, but like metaphorically, I need to like be in the clouds, like looking down on it and be like, okay, what are you doing? But it's like sometimes when you're in it, you just can't see it. And it does just start to feel like, what am I doing? I feel lost. Like, what am I waking up for again today? Like that's tough. Like if you're doing the same, sometimes if you're an employee, it's like, ooh, I want to be excited. So I'm going to go get a new job. But I don't think we're ever getting another job. So how do we stay excited and motivated for something that's just going to be ours forever? That's real. That's a thing. And I think that I feel a lot of pressure. In all honesty, sometimes I'm just faking it. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, sometimes I'm just like, hey, we're doing this today. And inside, I'm like, I'm dead inside. Like, I got nothing. I just want to go eat a bag of Cheetos. Like, I got nothing. Like, sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it. Or gear yourself up in the same way I was saying, like, send me back out there. Like, because sometimes you're just not feeling it. But if you're a leader, you can't not feel it. Like, everybody's looking to you to be the cultural tone setter of the organization, you know, so you can't like complain. I don't know. Yeah, you got to rally somehow. For me, I usually have to, even if it's as simple as just going for a walk, like I got to get out from behind my screen. I need to ideally go somewhere, do something, or speak to a new person, to, you know, like somebody who inspires me, or listen to some sort of content, or watch some sort of content that just gets me kind of re-energized. But I don't, yeah.
And working from home is tough because you don't see the people you work with, so there's no energy there. So it's very hard to like, oh, you get up, you go to your office, and you go right back to your bedroom or to your living room. It's the same thing.
It can feel very grinding.
Like Wynne and I have been together for, it'll be 24 years, but we've been working and living together for about 20. Like we've been... Yeah, and there are some times that we need to get away from each other because it's usually when you and your partner, like you guys are girlfriends, you guys don't work together. You guys go. Do. Oh, okay, you do, but she still goes one way, you go another way. Then you guys meet together. But imagine living together, children together, and then working together for 20 years. And when we don't travel a lot, like we used to before, she used to travel a lot, and we used to get on like our breaks, and then we used to come back re-energized, but. It's hard.
It's good to miss people.
It's good to miss people. It's wonderful to miss people.
I think we didn't even answer your question.
No, but it's hard to work from. She takes a walk. I talk to her because I'm not really involved in the day-to-day operate. I'm in the trenches with her. I'm more behind the scenes. I'm taking care of the 3 kids we have and making sure they don't kill themselves. And then her and I talk to each other.
I don't know where that just came from.
Well,
I think he meant kill each other.
Well, they kill themselves too. They go up and down, and
I think you can't say that.
We have a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 12-year-old. There's different emotions and different things, and I just make sure they stay safe. And then I talk to my wife and go, "Honey, how's the bitch?" She goes, "Don't talk to me about it." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, that is true. When you work from home, which we do, like for the most part, we do actually have an office in Tennessee, but we recently moved most of our life to North Carolina. So the physical office that I used to go to, I'm not going there anymore. And it can just get monotonous. It's like it's like your whole life is taking place within like 40 square feet or something. So it's just like, you got to rally to find that energy, to get remotivated so yeah, I find myself sometimes just going out to lunch with someone new and being like, oh, like just give me something. Like I need conversation that's not about who's going to walk the dog, who left the dishes in the dishwasher, or what time are we picking up a kid. Like that stuff will just.
And then when we go our separate ways, we have our little, and then we have something else to talk about.
Right.
Other than the Real Housewives of Dubai or Beverly Hills, whatever. Great show, by the way. Way to go, Andy Cohen.
Not as good as 90 Day Fiance.
Oh God, what trashy TV.
Good stuff.
For anyone looking to start their own business, what advice would you give them?
Okay.
So many things.
I would say be very careful and methodical and planful before you even go that route. You know what I mean? Like
she
your
said,
eyes, cross
measure
your-
twice, cut once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pressure test your idea 100 different ways. You know what I mean? Like there are ways that you can almost sort of pre-test a concept before you ever go live with it. But like worst case scenario it 100 ways, you know, until you feel like, no, this is bulletproof. I got this. Like it really needs to feel bulletproof. Getting back to what I was saying earlier of like making sure it's a very calculated risk, like it's a very smart risk. I would not recommend that people go into a lot of debt to start a business. That to me is just suicide. Don't do that. We have started our business on nothing. It's different because we weren't like making pizzas and needed a $60,000 pizza oven or something. It was different because it was like a service-based business, so we could be our own capital. But that's one of the best business decisions I think we've ever made, was starting the business on a shoestring budget and only growing around the actual cash we have. Meaning like I'm not a big fan of loans. I'm not a big fan of partners.
We don't have partners.
For no reason. No. I don't want to be in debt to anybody. I don't want to owe anybody a piece of the pie. Like,
now, people have come up to us asking us to, do you need a partner? We get offered to be bought out every day.
I'm like,
and we're like, no, see you later. No, we don't need
I
that.
didn't build something for 20 years for you to come in and take it once it's gone. You know what I mean? Like it's too lucrative and there's too much there. Okay, sorry, we're veering off again. Be calculated, like be very careful about even taking the risk in the first place. Try not to go in debt while doing it.
Be determined. You're going to hear a lot of no's, a lot of no's. You got to keep on going. If you believe in what you're peddling, selling, creating, go. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I would say, because I'm a marketer, listen to the market. If you're trying to sell, I don't know, chocolate flavored water and no one's buying it, okay, no one likes chocolate flavored water, quit selling it. Like
right.
It just, some people get so laser focused on like, here's my idea, here's my pipe dream, but that's yours. You know what I mean? Like you need to have customers, you need to have clients, you need whatever it is.
A lot of
you need
research.
to listen to the market, and pivot as needed. Oh my gosh, what else? Well, yeah, like you were saying, a lot of fortitude, a lot of, and I will say there's a very non-glamorous side of entrepreneurialism and business ownership. Just to be morbid for a second, there's a very high divorce rate. There's a very high suicide rate. There's a very high bankruptcy rate. There's a very high foreclosure on your home rate. Like starting a business is no joke. You know, like
you really went dark.
It's true. Like just look at the stat.
That is true. Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna go start a whatever, and it's like next thing you know, they're triple mortgaged on their house. Their wife has left them because they never came home because they were gonna be the plumber of America, and they haven't stopped working 140 hours, or even 140 hours a week, and sleeping. It can wreak havoc. Like owning a business is like having a lot of kids all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Where it requires all hands on deck attention. It's a lot. Like
everyone's got to be on the same page.
Been an independent person for a long time too, and you know, it like the buck stops with you. So it's like, how's the mortgage going to get paid? How are the employees going to get paid? What if you can't make payroll? Like the pressure that puts on a human, it's a lot. Like to me, like starting a business is not for the faint of heart. It's not like a let's have a dream and then go off and skimper into the woods and we're all gonna, be in Hawaii every summer laughing about it for a month. No, you're not. Like it's a thing. Like like
we still feel the pressure of everyone that works for us. We feel like the entire family's pressure on our backs going,
I totally feel
we've got to make sure that this works. We got to make sure that we have business, because we feel like their livelihood is dependent on us. And that's a lot. That's a lot.
Who are the primary breadwinners of their families. Like I don't take that lightly. You know, like to me, it's like success or bust, because it's not just about us anymore. Now, at first it was like, how we pay the bills. It's like, now multiply that by 60 or how many employees you have, or 100 or 1,000 or whatever. And it's like, now it's a whole other level of pressure. So yeah, I would say don't go into business unless you feel really, really strongly that you've got the emotional fortitude, the family structure and the support. If you've got a spouse that's like, don't do that, that's a bad idea, because that is never going to go away. No. That conflict is going to keep coming every day, you know what I mean? Like you gotta. That's a lot.
Unless you're
Okay, sorry.
TikTok famous, then it's a whole nother world.
That's a whole other story.
It's a whole nother story.
Have your OnlyFans account.
Yeah,
like,
whatever you
like,
want to do.
that's
Yeah.
That's a different business.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got morbid on that. But chase your dreams.
Chase your dreams. Don't listen to my wife say.
Well, you were saying our kids are going to kill themselves. I at least said entrepreneurs will kill
That's true.
Oh, jeez. Edit.
So you guys have been through a lot over the years. From you guys started in 2005. Then in 2008 there was a recession. Then in 2020 there was the coronavirus. How did you guys adapt to those scenarios on the outside world?
It was a lot of pivoting.
Lot of
That's
pivoting.
when leadership has to step up and,
Exactly.
and lead.
Exactly.
Like I remember during the pandemic, just because that one was closer, I remember every month I was creating little PowerPoint decks of like, here's how we're going to survive the next month. Okay, we're doing this. Okay, who's got a creative idea? What are we going to do? Like, it was literally like month by month I was saying, here's what I can report on now. No one is getting laid off this month.
Right, every month.
I feel confident that we're going to make payroll next month. And then we get on the phone again, and I had my little PowerPoint ready. I'm like, now I feel we're going to make, like, so we never had to, we've never had to lay anyone off because of money reasons or anything like that. But we had to pivot like a mother. Like, we had to think, when the business world sort of shut down, obviously they're not giving us money because we're the third parties to those businesses. So that's a time where you got to get creative for sure. I feel like one of my favorite stories of COVID time. So we're used to, clients will call, what we call clients, like corporations will call us and they'll say, hey, Smarty Pants, we need to understand, what makes teenagers tick and how do we get them less addicted to vaping or something. And we're like, we got you. But imagine those calls stop coming. Now, what do you do? Mm-hmm. So we went into, okay, we're reaching out to them mode. So then we started brainstorming and we're like, what do our clients need? As in like the humans who work at those companies. They were struggling. They were figuring out how do they work. We had been working at home for 15 years. They were figuring out how do we work from home. That was a new concept for like all of our clients. They were like kind of going stir crazy and not knowing how to take care of their kids and work at the same place. They didn't have, like everything was just, anyway, we started brainstorming and we're like, we know how to do what they're struggling with now. So we went into like Smarty Pants has got you kind of mode and just started what I would consider kind of planting seeds, just like being your ally of like, you know what, we prepared a little 3-pager for you that's like tips and tricks on like how to do video calls. Like it was stuff that was like new to the whole business world, but we had been doing it. And then we were, I remember there was a time that we were pitching a piece of business and this woman was like, who worked at a client, and she was like, I can't do this. My kids are at home. And I was like, we got you. Well, I think actually Alex was like, we got you.
Right.
So we have this woman. At the time, she was a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
She was like maybe 22. She looked just like Elsa. And this was when Elsa was like popular and like Frozen was popular. She literally bought an outfit, like an Elsa costume, and would have a separate video call with the kids of the client we were pitching to keep them busy so we could pitch
While we're talking to the client.
So she would dress up like Elsa.
She looks
and was
exactly like her.
She really looked like her. And we were like, that's genius.
Yeah.
So it just required creativity. It just required like, that's always been kind of our business ethos anyway of like, what do our clients need? How can we meet their needs? And that was a time where it's like, their need was, I can't even talk to you. I got a kid on my leg. How do I work from home? How do I...
It was beyond sales and
but we
projections
planted all those seeds.
And all that. We just saw how to work from home successfully. I'm like, oh, we've done this for 10 years. This is how you do it.
And we started
And they were over the moon, especially with that Elsa bit. And they were like, wow, you guys, because they knew we worked from home, but they were like, oh, I can never do that when the pandemic hit. And they were in their environment. They're like, how do you guys do it? And we just held their hand and walked them right down the path. And like she said, we planted seeds.
That in 2021 was like one of the best years we
Exactly.
ever had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think in 2020, I think our sales might have been down, but not to the point where it was like, oh my gosh, we're going under. But the seeds, the planting, but for us, that's the equivalent of like, you want a pizza parlor, you just get to know your customers. It's like you walk in, you're like, Adrian, you need
We know your order.
sausage.
Yeah.
We know your order. Well,
Right.
we were like, this is a time that we need to get to know everybody's order. This is a time where we need to let our clients know that Smarty Pants gets you. We're here for you. When the funds open up, they're coming back to us. Like that. it wasn't a time that we needed to just like run for cover. So,
But every month we had those conference calls with
yeah.
a
I've
big
still got
projection chart
I've still
with
got
everybody's with a dollar amount next to them and going, we're still in business. You're still in, and we just
we
kept
were
doing
scared.
it. We were
But
scared.
everybody was scared. Everybody was collectively
Month by month we
scared.
did it, and then
And I was
we rode the wave.
transparent about it.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
which is
usually-
one thing our employees really, really appreciate about us is that we are very transparent with it. We don't hide anything from them because we let them know, hey, this is a company that is a family company. You have as much, work sweat ethic. What is it? Ethic? Sweat equity that we do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people are very loyal to us because they know that we're not like just any other company who just really doesn't care about their employees. We really care about them,
Yeah.
sometimes to a fault.
We were
but-
very invested in and I told people, I said, if this ship's going down, I was like planning out how it was strategically going to go
Right.
down. I was like, we're all going down together. I was like, we're going to start by everyone's going to go on like a forced furlough. Then we're going to go, like in my mind, it was like, okay, plan B is everyone's taking a 10% pay cut. Plan C, it wasn't like a you go. It was a like, we're going down like the Titanic, but I'm going to do everything we can to just preserve everyone. And everyone felt that. So when you have that, like, when you feel like your leaders got you, you're thinking, I could be Elsa on the phone, and you're coming up with ideas. But if you feel like, shit, I might get let go, then you're like, what do I care? I'm tapping out already.
And we told them, hey, we'll miss our pay cuts. We won't get paid. You guys make sure you guys get paid first.
Oh, that was a given.
It was a very trying year, but
But you did it together.
we did it together.
We did it together.
We did fight, but who doesn't?
Well, I'm sure we're fighting it, whether it was pandemic time or not. Yeah. But being agile is required of any business.
And definitely not being afraid or scared. Like that's not the time to be, put your tail between your legs. Yeah, but you didn't show it.
Okay.
Well, I live with you. I remember.
Well, no, I think of what you were saying about like being transparent. Like that was such extenuating circumstances where it was like, hey, as your leader, I got you, but I'm scared too. Like none of us knew what was going to happen. We're like, the world's going to start again tomorrow, or in 6 months, or 6 years. Like none of us knew. But yeah, I think that having a business requires flexibility and nimbleness. If you own the pizza parlor and everybody stops buying pizza, okay, time to switch over to calzones, make it work. Like time to start baking bread and putting some sugar on it and having dessert pizzas. Like that's just kind of what we had to do. And what every business has to do, regardless of what industry you're in. If you're just think about like auto dealers. Where were all the cars? Where were all, you know what I mean? Like just, okay, time to get creative. What are you selling now? Like, anyway, yeah.
Did we answer the question?
We're always like, did we answer the question? We over-answer every question.
Very good. Over almost 20 years successfully. You guys are about to make 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
January 1st, right?
You guys...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You guys started on January 1st?
Well, it was a weekend, and so it ended up, the Monday was a January 3rd. So our official virtual doors opened on January 3rd, but like legally we sort of opened up January 1st, yeah.
January 1st, 2005.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We had our website that was so stupid ready to go.
Bunch of boxy characters.
We were just ready.
God, we were happy with that.
God, we were happy with that.
So you guys have worked with many companies. Target, CVS, Publix, Bazooka, Hasbro, Warner Brothers, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
If I were to tell you in 2004 that you guys were going to start a company, make it successful, and work with all these brands, what would you say?
I think we were saying, yes, it's going to happen with my wife leading the charge. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I think there'll be no doubt. I would have been like, what? We're going to work with Target? But, yeah, I think
those are
that.
just the ones that we can say out loud.
Yes.
The big
There are ones we
kind of
can't
like
say.
Fortune 5, Fortune 10 ones, they don't even allow us to
They don't
say
allow
or
us to
their
say it.
name.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that the cash just keeps flowing. So that's exciting. But they also, if you acknowledge that you work with them, they take your firstborn and you go to jail or something. I'm just joking.
Oh, like that's it, like in the contract?
Yeah, a lot of companies, that's just the way the world works now. They don't like
We sign our life away.
They don't like to, we're not supposed to use their name as sort of clout for our business. And it's just something you contractually have to agree to. Because then what's happening is it sounds like they're endorsing us when really we could have done one project for them that was a dumpster fire and they're not endorsing us. Do you know what I mean? So in general, a lot of contracts now are like, you stay behind the scenes, stay in your lane, don't use our name as part of your reputation building. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way the corporate world is very cover themselves.
So how does networking then work in that type of field? Is it like big companies talk to each other and like, oh, we've had this partner and they kind of helped us out, so maybe you should try it out?
So, yeah, and honestly, most of our business has grown over the years via word of mouth. There is, I mean, every industry and every trade has their little portal that you come into and are like, I'm looking for people that do this or what. And almost like the Yellow Pages, but the digital version of that. Do you even know what the Yellow Pages are?
Yeah.
Okay. I just had a thought where I was like, wait, they don't know what the Dukes of Hazzard are. They might not know what the Yellow Pages are.
They see them throwing away in the garbage in the street.
There are those little portals where you can like find people, but in general, it does tend to be word of mouth. And at least in our world, in like the marketing world, there tends to be a lot of movement of employees. So let's say you used to work at Nickelodeon, you worked there for 3 or 4 years, you then leave to go work at Disney. And then when you go work at Disney, you're like, I loved when we used to work at Smarty Pants. And then next thing you know, Disney's our client. So there's been a lot of that.
A lot of word of mouth.
Like a lot of what we would call organic growth from just people movement. So the networking absolutely matters. And I feel very strongly that like every project we're working on currently is kind of like an indirect pitch for the next project. It's like finish strong, finish hard, leave them thinking nothing but positive of like, oh my gosh, we got great results from them. They were easy to work with. And so then we're obviously networking with people, but our clients are, to your point, networking and kind of sharing the word.
And in those projects we work...
Competitors aren't. But
we meet other people that are not directly associated with that project, so we want to leave a good impression so that this person A works at this whole other department. Like, oh, I went to the Smarty Pants Reach. It was amazing. Let's try them out for this. So it's a lot of, like she said, leave a good impression, make good connections, and then that's how we've been doing it for like 20 years. A lot of, there's clients we've had since the beginning that have been with us.
But a lot of those major corporations, they're so kind of siloed that really even just getting in with one division is a win. But then once they start to share you or you get in with another division, it's almost like a whole other company. So imagine, not that we work with them, but imagine like a Meta. Do you know what Meta is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, do you know what Meta is? Well, there's people who work at Facebook. Well, there's people who work at Instagram. There's people who work on VR glasses. There's people who work with, do you know what I'm getting at? Like, so if you were to like, you get my point. It's like sort of expanding within company is always an opportunity, as well as expanding to multiple companies. The networking is important, and just having good word of mouth, and just always leaving your clients with a good end result.
Leave them wanting for more, always.
And great client service. We're really rigorous about client service.
Yeah.
Our industry is kind of littered with like crappy companies that are just like sort of phoning it in, and we're like, no phoning it in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do great work, put in the extra hour, deliver whatever you can that makes their lives easier, and they appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
What's next for Smarty Pants? Where do you guys see the company in the next 5 to 10 years?
We're going to open up an office in the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. No.
I'm so excited for our future. I'm excited. What's our future?
I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
I have no idea.
I just do know that we keep on getting more people, more great people, and they bring different talents and abilities that we don't have. Mm-hmm. And definitely the younger generation is bringing a whole new perspective on things that us being a little bit older don't have, and it helps. But, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, there really is no limit other than maybe AI. Damn AI.
Or AI is our friend and our complimentary service. I think that what is next for where we see our business growing. Remember how before I was saying like a company would call us and say, here's a project, we have this need. We've gotten to the point now where we have clients that have ongoing needs for us. Do you know what I mean? That are like, we need you again to do this and again to do this. And so now our business has evolved to the point where like we really need like client-based teams. So it's like I need 15 or 20 people working on
one specific client. Right.
Well, once that starts to happen, you start to anchor down in those clients, like that just, I mean, the growth of that is just so exponential. Do you know what I mean? Like, because then you've got dedicated people that are just taking care of teams. And like I was saying, then you go from one department to another. And then, so I see the growth is just really exciting. I think there's growth around our client portfolio. like just the portfolio of clients we have, but also like the depth that we are with and how kind of entrenched we are within each client. And then just the different services that we can offer. Like there's so many different cool things that to me, our industry just keeps evolving. AI is making it evolve, of course. But also just things like, I don't know if this is nerdy stuff, like semiotics. Do you know what that is? It's like,
No idea.
like semiotics is like the study of like language and culture and like how people use like signs and symbols. So like, I don't know, clients will pay us or other companies to like for months like figure out what exactly that symbol should be. Do you know what I mean? I'm making this one up.
Is it kind of like why people like McDonald's logo and what attracts them to it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So imagine that like the color cues, what do those communicate? The sort of like the font or like typography of something, what does that communicate? Like there's
Those
so
small
much,
things that trigger a consumer to go to that item.
right? Like you can get like deep
Yeah.
into stuff and companies pay for that.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's also sort of fascinating and cool. And then there's so much growth around like culture and diversity, languages. I feel like some big opportunities for us are global, doing more things for global clients or within other markets outside of the US. And then other targets, like as in, remember how I told you we started with kind of like kids and youth and family, and that's grown to be a lot of adults. There's so many different like unique segments now of like, ooh, what can we do for like LGBTQ consumers? Like how can we know them better? And right now there's a huge growth around kind of diversity, but really like neurological diversity. Do you know what I mean? Like how can we do more for people who have some sort of visual impairment, some sort of neurodivergence, some sort of physical impairment, like the growth around ability in like, even just in terms of like a user interface of like how you're experiencing something online. There's like so much money being poured into like, how can you make sure that people can see our content, that they're experiencing our content? Like, how do we help people who have hearing or vision or speech differences? Or there's a whole explosion around that, which is really fascinating. Because it used to just be like marketing was about marketing to the masses, but now it's about marketing to billions of little individuals, if that makes any sense. And so the better we can do at like understanding individuals and what their unique needs are, it just is juicy and rich and interesting. And like, I don't know anything about visual impairment, but a year from now I'll be like, remember when we didn't know anything about how to do research with people who had a visual impairment? Like, so just, there's, I don't know, so many growth opportunities.
A lot of stuff with mental health also.
Yes.
Mental, like a lot of stuff regarding that.
Especially related to youth, not
Related to youth,
surprisingly.
yeah. Because you guys are kind of messed up. Your age, so yeah.
I can attest.
Yeah.
I can attest.
I can attest.
He tells me I'm crazy every day for telling me I'm not afraid to die every time.
You're not afraid to die?
Yeah, like I'll just accept, like if I was to walk out right now and something was to happen, that's what God intended.
I'm the same way.
But he calls me crazy for that.
I'm not afraid to die.
No, listen. This is what he said.
He tells the story all the time.
There was one time that he was at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he put the cash register on the counter.
Yeah.
And he
Oh.
was counting it like in the open.
Yeah.
And some dude came up to him and was like, "You should put that away because people are crazy nowadays. They will kill you for that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, if somebody comes in here and shoots me, then that's just God's plan." I was like, "No, because you could have prevented that one." You could literally
I have to
put it
agree
that
with
way.
Adrian. Yeah. I thought you meant like you walk out the door and you get hit by a bus. There's nothing you can do about that.
Nah, I mean like if I'm walking down the street and someone
Yeah.
just decides to just rob me and I'm like, listen, I'm dying for this.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
dying.
my, you're crazy.
Wait,
Dying.
you would die for your wallet?
I'm dying for everything.
Really? You would?
Wow. Well, I'm
doing
going
it.
to try to hang on forever. And
Yeah.
if I'm in a coma, can you try and resuscitate me? And
Yeah.
Can you try and get me back? I'm trying not to die.
Listen, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. If that's how I go out,
Yeah.
then I'm going out like a warrior.
For your wallet?
It could be for a penny.
Oh, gosh. When you're a parent, you won't say that.
Yeah.
Well, true.
You'll be like,
What's in
kids
your
need me.
wallet is so important.
Honestly,
now we're
right
going to ask the
now,
questions. What is in your wallet?
probably
That's so
nothing
important.
right now.
As any worth your life.
There's a Bape Metro card in there actually.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's definitely worth
That's definitely worth dying for.
Probably worth like
Yeah.
probably like $2.
Exactly.
So I want to ask, what's the type of legacy you guys plan on leaving behind for both your clients and people you've also worked with?
Ooh.
Well, we definitely want to leave a very, very positive legacy behind with our clients and the people we work with. Like, I'm a big believer in karma. I believe what you put out to the universe, it will always come back to you. That's why I really don't believe in burning bridges. I don't believe in like really wronging people. And our clients, the times that I've gone with clients in meetings and research, I've always made it a fact to get to really know the clients beyond the business level on a personal level, so they can feel like, oh, this is not a business partner. This is a person that I can have a drink with. And that's the main reason why people keep coming back to Smarty Pants, because the people that work with us, they're excellent at that. They don't view you as a business partner. They view you as a friend who just happen to be doing business. We just want to leave a very positive impact of what our company did, both professionally and what's the word I'm trying to say?
Philanthropically.
Philanthropically. We want to leave that positive image, but definitely positive vibes all around. I'm a big believer of that. And so is when I told her when we first met, I'm like, it's a little bit personal, but I never cheated on a girlfriend, because I always thought if you cheat on a girlfriend and then she cheats on you, you really have nothing to say, because that's you putting it out to the universe. So I was like, if you don't want to be with them, just break up with them and there'll be somebody else. So I'm a big believer of what you put out there will always come back. So you definitely want to leave a positive legacy. Everyone that works with us, they're like the happiest people on this planet. I'm like, I can't talk to you anymore. So, I just want to be old and cranky here. But I mean, don't you think that'll be
What?
like that's kind of legacy we want to leave behind? What kind of legacy we want to leave behind?
Yeah. Yes, one of generosity and good.
Definitely
we
generosity.
We tend to be a very kind company and kind people.
Giving,
We're very giving. At the end of the year, we just in the past week gave out
a lot of bonus money.
Like $1.2 million in bonuses to our employees.
Yeah.
Just because they made it. Like it's money that was that was gravy that we could share. And
if it wasn't for them, it would not be there.
And it's
simple as
where we tend to be generous. We also like to be generous to causes. Like sometimes we'll give like giving bonuses where we'll say like, hey, Kenny, Adrian, whoever works at Smarty Pants, like you're getting like $1,000 bonus this month, but you can't keep it. You have to give it away to something you care about. And they love that. Like they love like giving bonuses, or we do,
or vacation, like we pay for your dinner and go, hey, Kenny, take your girlfriend out to dinner, we're paying for dinner.
Right.
Boom,
or if it's been like a crazy week, we'll do like go stay in a hotel or something. And like, here's a little $1,500 weekend bonus, like take yourself away or something. But we also give to causes. I want to create a legacy. I haven't thought about this, but actually what's next for Smarty Pants is me thinking about what's the legacy.
Great. She's going to be up to 5 o'clock in the morning thinking about this now.
Now when you think about a legacy. I'd like to have a legacy of great work, of course, being a kind, benevolent employer, of course. And there's a little feminist side of me that like, I want to know that I played a role in helping women be valuable voices in the business world. Like probably 3/4 of our company are women.
Are women, yeah.
They're smart, they're strong, some of them are parents, some of them are not. But like when I was kind of coming up in the business world, I felt like there was this point in my career where it's like I felt like all the women left. And I remember asking my boss at the time, I was like, people keep saying get a mentor, and I'm like, I don't even see any women who have jobs that I'd want to have. And he was like, they went home. And I'm like, what do you mean they went home? And he was like, well, they go home and have kids. And I was like, I don't like that answer.
She didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like insulting or something. Anyway, so part of Smarty Pants was kind of like, I can be a parent, and I can also be a high functioning, productive, valuable member of the business world. And if I feel that way, there has to be other women that feel that way. So we've always wanted Smarty Pants to be a place where like you can have a family, you can have a business life, you know what I mean? Like that you can be
you can do both.
Have high impact as a woman. Every man who works here, of course, I feel the exact same about. But in terms of legacy, I'd like to know that I had some sort of positive financial and cultural impact on women's ability to have a space and a place at the business table. That's part of my personal legacy.
Your legacy.
Desires.
Yeah.
He's wanting to make sure all the Dominicans get street cred.
I do?
No, just
No.
joking.
Is this something you guys eventually dream of passing on to your kids?
I can't get those fools to brush their teeth.
Our kids do not want to do, they don't want anything to do with the business.
I don't know. Well,
They don't.
we shall see. Yes. I don't know.
To tell you the truth, I don't know what our succession plan would be.
Well, that's another embarrassing thing. Not only do we need a legacy plan, we need a
have a
succession,
succession
plan because
plan,
we could
yeah.
get run over by a bus tomorrow and are behind in doing that. Is figuring out what is next. I could see us passing the business along to the employees, perhaps before I could see passing it along to our children. Because
Yes.
they have such different interests than us. They're not hardwired like me, and they have just like one's really into like the culinary world and cooking and helping people who are poor, like, and just wants to do like kind of philanthropic things related to food, and another one just wants to be an athlete and a dentist, and the other one wants to just be a cheerleader or a real estate agent. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, so I
Or
can't,
backup dancer.
or backup dancer for Taylor Swift. So I can't imagine them taking over the business, but then again, they're kids, so who knows what they're going to be like when they're 20s or 30s. I could potentially see, in the business world, this is called an ESOP, but it's basically an employee-owned business that over time you're basically... So I could potentially imagine our employees taking over the business, or us kind of doing what in the business world is called an ESOP. It's basically like an employee-owned transfer of the business where they ultimately sort of buy and or gifted shares, and then the business ultimately becomes almost like a co-op. Like they become the business owners over time. I could see something like that happening.
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know. This is
Or
a
we can
tough
run this
one.
business till we die.
Yeah.
That's our plan.
We're trying not to. We're pretending not to be old and have to think about these issues.
We really don't see ourselves retiring, because I've talked to her. I'm like, honey, did you think we were retire? She goes, for what? What would we retire for? I'm like, okay, I guess we're still working. All right. I mean, not working
Right.
the way we're, but it would be, we wouldn't retire. We
Succession
really wouldn't
planning
retire.
is something we need to think through.
Yeah, we really haven't thought about
Right
that.
now, we spend, I know I mentioned this earlier, lots of other companies want to buy our company. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about that. And we're like, no. Like, we're what I would consider fiercely independent. Like, we're calling our own shots. I don't want some man in a gray suit who lives in Colorado telling us what to do and what our financial goals are for the year. Like, buzz off. Like, this is our company. So I feel really strongly about making sure we're just a very viable, independent business that, to your point, can create a legacy and continue to grow. I haven't really thought about how it continues to grow after we are done. Not there yet, but call us in a month.
Plus the buying out, they would buy us out, and then our employees would leave. They just would not want to work
it
on anywhere
never
else. Yeah, it never works out. You think it works out, but it doesn't work out. So yeah, it doesn't.
Does it bother you a little, like just a little bit, that all the hard work that you put in and like maybe one of your kids won't ever take it?
Does it bother me? Does it bother you?
I guess no, not really. I feel like if they go create their own things or do their own things and have happy, full, successful lives, that they're chasing their own dreams, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I recognize that this was my dream. You know what I mean? So if they don't, and I'm annoying. So no, seriously, like I think they see me, because we're working from home, they see me being that doesn't look very fun, so I get it. So I imagine
They've seen all the facets
they
of Wynne
don't
Tyree.
want it because they saw it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you were watching your dad, you get it.
Yeah.
So I think that they, again, who knows what will happen when they're older, but for right now, I'm okay with that.
What would annoy us is that we've done all this hard work to lay a very solid foundation for them to chase their dream, whatever it is. And if they become lazy sacks of shit, then we'll be angry. That will piss us off.
That would make me angry.
I don't care what you do. You can sell hot dogs in the street till 4 in the
go
morning
do
because you want to do it. Go do something. You don't have to do what we did.
Right.
But go do something. We're busting our ass. Have this company give you all the little things to make you succeed and make you better. And if you just sit home and play video games or do nothing or be on TikTok twirling your hair, now we got problems. That's the way I thought about it. Because we worked hard. She worked hard. I worked hard. We put in countless amount of hours, a lot of sacrifice. And there was a lot of, going, you have children, just do something. I've told them, I don't care what it is. Do something that you love and go for it. Have a passion. Have a passion.
Don't be a deadbeat.
Don't be a
trust
deadbeat.
fund baby or that's
that trust fund baby doesn't work with us, because I told them, you're not getting any money for us. We are going to spend every dime before we die, before you get anything. Simple as that.
And we're very concerned about our kids. I hope, knock on everything. We don't want our kids to be brats.
Yeah.
Or to be.
Because we've seen brats.
Yeah.
We know
or
brats.
to feel like they're entitled to something. No,
Yeah.
you're entitled to nothing.
To shit. You're entitled to shit.
Okay, well, there's that. Okay, next question.
Got into my favorite part of the podcast, the final five. Well,
3 drinks in, I'm still good.
So the first question we want to ask is, what's the best advice you guys have ever received?
I don't even remember.
The best advice?
Was it that old man in Connecticut? The 529?
Oh, well, that was good advice.
That was great advice.
Start a college fund for your children.
When you have children.
When they're 1 or 0. That's good advice. Like a college savings, but that's dumb. Like that.
I don't think nobody ever gave
Best
us.
advice? Well, there was, when I was first, remember how I told you I was doing like all the homework before starting Smarty Pants? There was a guy who owned an ad agency who I'd met and respected, and I went to see him one day and I was like, how'd you do this? Blah, blah, blah. I think this is what I want to do. And so I was talking about, actually he gave me, I'm going to mess up exactly what he said, but I said to him, like, how do you make sure that you know, what happens if money is tight or whatever? And he said, the way our industry works is that, like I was saying, like, clients call you. And he was like, but always be prepared to go sell. And he was talking about how he would sell advertising. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he's like, he basically gave me the advice that, like, if it's not flowing one way, like, make sure it flows the other. Do you know what I mean? So in his world, rather than somebody saying, hey, come make an ad for the cereal over here, he was like, if times are tough, we just make an ad on our own dime and then go to the cereal company and say, look what we made for you, and turn things. Do you know what I mean? So that's what, I think that stuck with me, because then it's really kind of what I was talking about, like fueling us through the pandemic. And it's kind of like, now you got Elsa ideas floating around. Like, we went into, like, if it's not coming and being inbound, go out and get it. But I don't remember exactly how he said it. But I've always remembered that advice about just going and getting what you need. Gosh, I can't remember any good
That's like a
ones.
remember.
That's not, yeah.
Then the
We'll come
529 fund.
That's dumb. Actually, investing is a good idea. That's not something I think either one of us grew up with.
Definitely
That
not.
was very uncomfortable to actually invest money in the market. Like, I feel like that's not a very...
The market could be very scary and
Yeah.
intimidating, but he told us, you're going to have a kid, they want to go to college, this is the best way to do it. You just put the money in there and let it sit there until it's time for college. And now he was right, because Ella goes to college and not one dime comes out of our pocket. Not one. Yeah. So it's a great thing.
Well, I meant, and above and beyond that, just investing in the market in general, like allowing money to not just sit in savings, but actually to invest it. Because
Yes.
that can feel very scary. I think that was
Yes.
scary for me, because I'm like, wait, this is out of my control. But like when we got a financial advisor who was like, let's put money here, it will grow in this way. And
Be
I'm like,
comfortable
what if
with
it
money
doesn't?
sitting there and not worrying about it. Like,
And
just
it's
forget
like,
about it.
Look
It's
at
just sitting
history.
there.
It will.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. And then every time now we get our bank statements, I'm like, or, you know, like investment statements, I'm like, it really does do that. Like that's exciting. Like making money for doing nothing.
By the way, stock market closed on a high today, so we're
Okay,
good.
we're not talking about that now. Invest your money if you have it, and save your money.
Save your money. Don't waste
Here's
your
great
money on
advice. I don't
frivolous
know
shit.
who gave it to me, or maybe I just made it up. Don't live above your means.
Yes.
Don't spend money you don't have. Don't go into debt. Don't live above your means. Drive a ratty car and pay your bills. Like,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Kenny, I know you have a great car. I'm just a fan of, like, don't live above your means. Like, especially to impress anybody, to have things that don't matter. Like, there is nothing more comforting than financial security. Like,
Absolutely.
that just feels so good. When you're in debt or you're broke, it just impacts your whole entire life. Like, that's the shittiest feeling.
Mentally.
Like, don't spend money you don't
Yeah,
have. Like,
exactly.
Don't go into credit card debt and pay those yahoos 25 or 30% interest on a cheeseburger. Like, don't do that.
If you don't have it, don't go to the casino. Simple as that.
And please stop affirming stuff. Please stop using Affirm. They
The
use
what?
Affirm, so it's like you pay things off slowly.
Oh,
And it'll be like, they'll do
No.
Affirm
no,
on like
don't do that.
No.
$10 gift cards.
That's the biggest scam in the world.
No, because then you're stuck. You're
Exactly.
basically kicking this can down. No,
Yeah.
no.
And when the can comes back to you, it's the size
you
of
just
Mount
have
Rushmore.
to ask yourself, why is that a good business proposition for someone, and why are they marketing the shit out of that?
I've seen someone
It's at
cut up
your
a $40 shirt in Affirm. Like,
Right, but you're just no.
Nah, don't
this
do
is
that.
what no. Pay the $40. Like, there's nothing good that comes of that.
Absolutely.
Besides it being in over your head. Like, don't go buy the $5,000 couch with the no payments for 5 years. No, because the interest is accruing for 5 years. And at the end of the 5 years, they're like, oh, you didn't pay it off in total? Oh, well, here, now instead of owing us $5,000, you owe us $9,000. Because
For a couch you probably don't even like after 5 years.
yeah, no, don't go into debt for dumb things. Like, don't do that. Yeah, so.
What do you believe is your current purpose?
Oh my God. I don't even know, to tell you the truth. I struggle with that every day. My current purpose?
You should be able to just rattle it off. Come on, be a leader. Let's go. I got nothing, by the way. I'm just telling you.
I don't know.
These are the life questions that you're really good at.
Well, I think my current purpose is to be a good son, a good husband, and a good father, and a good human being all around. Even though I kind of hate people sometimes, but all around, I think it's just being a good person. Definitely a good husband, a good father, and a good son. I think that's the hardest jobs in the world. I think that the people we work with, I think they know who I am and they value who I am and they value the little bit of advice I give them. But I believe that's my purpose. I don't know what my wife's purpose can be. Your purpose is to lead the troops into the void.
Okay, that was pretty dramatic. I do think that I want to inspire. I feel like my purpose is to inspire.
You like to inspire a lot of people.
I like to inspire greatness
Yes.
in others and leave things better than I found them and just make the world better than I found it.
Yes.
But I really love discovering talent. I love empowering talent. Like I have this like little side hustle where I help like kids get into college or go pursue their sports or whatever. And I love that. Like I love this. Like I'm like, listen, here's 19 schools. We're going to apply to these 15. Like I got it all down to.
She's an unpaid college counselor.
I'm basically just because like, you know, when you just meet someone and you're like, there's something in there. Like it's like I'm an unpaid agent. Like I just like inspiring and enabling and empowering people to just be their human and personal best. That's what I would. That's
Yes.
what I'm here. I think to just kind of magnify or multiply people.
Multiply.
Just multiply people's stuff,
Yeah.
like within them, not multi. I don't. That might.
She's all about driving people's ambition, make sure they fulfill their
No, but I mean,
dreams.
there's somebody. Yeah, you get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say a name, but I'm not going to say it. But look
Don't.
out for a certain person.
Don't say anything.
I'm not.
Anyway, my college hustle has turned into now like a sports hustle on the side. Again, all unpaid. But yes, someone that I was helping with some college advising just got signed to a big program that we're excited for him. And we're
Yes.
excited for him.
We'll let you know off camera who that is.
But we're excited because he's cute and he just keeps saying like, this is, and I'm like, oh my God, you're like a little, yeah. Anyway, I like that.
All right. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life that's changed your perspective?
God, these are deep questions. My God. I'm so shallow. My God.
A pivotal
moment.
in our lives that changed my perspective.
As a married couple or individually?
However you take it.
However you perceive it.
A pivotal moment in my life that changed my perspective.
I can't even think of one.
Got it.
You did get us.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know, that changed my perspective. Well, I mean, becoming a parent, obviously, that really changes your perspective. You go from, like, everything's about me to everything's about kind of like my legacy or, like, about the mini-me. So that definitely changes your whole worldview. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is bigger than me. That's exciting and overwhelming at the same time.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah.
Being fired from 3 jobs in less than a year. That was a pivotal moment for me, that I realized that I can't get by on jobs on my personality. And I realized that my lackadaisical approach to life, like me being a slacker sometimes, putting things off, not because I couldn't do it, but because I was like, I'll just get to that. I'll get to that. Well, the getting to that led me to being fired 3 jobs in a year. And that made me really realize that when you put your mind to something, you've got to finish it and you got to complete it. That was a pivotal moment because I lost 3 jobs. I turned 30 and I was in a major depression funk. And we were married already. No, we were together.
I was so exhausted.
It was the worst I had ever felt in my life.
Well, to be clear, one of the companies went under. It wasn't like you were fired, but like.
Oh, I got fired from 2 jobs. 1 job went under. But I got fired for no other reason other than myself. Right. It's all my fault because I would just kept on kicking the can on the road, just like she said about payments, and then it came back to bite me in the ass. Not because I couldn't do the job, because I was being lazy and slacking off, and employers don't want that. They want people who work. And it made me realize that when you start something, you got to finish it to completion, and just go through with everything. Don't be a slacker. And I was like, oh, my personality will get me through. And people love me, but they were like, we like you, but we're going to fire you because you're not doing the job. So I was like, okay, that was a pivotal moment.
And to be fair, he was in sales where there's very clear, like,
and I realized
here's the quota by the end of the month.
Sales was not my job.
And then, but Radames would roll up and be good time Charlie, but never close the deal.
I never, exactly.
And they're like, okay, everybody loves you, but you still close no deals. And he's like, okay. And he's like,
I would get free drinks from these people, but I wouldn't close the deal. So that's not good in business.
Your career should not be in sales. Like, no.
And I was 30. I felt very down on myself. My wife remembers. It was a bad time. It was a bad time.
Yeah,
it was not good.
A lot of
background.
Metaphorically, a lot of like.
I was like, am I going to jump out this first floor window, maybe kill myself?
Sparky,
no.
You're a champ.
Yeah.
You can do it.
But that was about the pivotal moment. When my kids were born, I never felt not 1 ounce of fear. Nothing. I was like, okay, let's do this. Not one.
We'll just change my perspective.
Yeah.
It's crazy you say that because I feel like a lot of the times people have kids, they'd be like, I can't take any more risks anymore.
No, that's bullshit.
I felt the opposite.
That's a bunch of crap.
I felt well.
I don't have kids that can't take any more risks.
Yeah, I feel
Is
like
the
they're
kid
like
a risk? Is
like,
that the way they look at it?
No, they can't take risks because they need security for their kids in a sense.
Oh, I get it.
Okay.
Well,
People are like, I can't travel anymore because I have kids. I can't do this. I can't take any
Those people
risks.
are called soft.
We were the opposite. We were like, our kids were like 3 months old. We're like, put her on a plane.
Yeah, we flew to Arizona, put her in 100-degree weather when
like-
Ella was 6 months old.
No, to me, kids should be additive to your life.
Absolutely.
And it's your job to just like.
To show them the world.
Yeah.
And show them how life is.
I don't think you shut down because you have kids.
No.
But I'm hardwired differently. And we also were in a scenario where we're building a business. It was if your income is flat and it's not going to go anywhere and you can't see where it would, you do start shutting down.
Yeah.
Do you know? But I wasn't in that space. I was in this like, let's build something. Like I remember, oh my gosh, I found these like old lists a while back. There was like, why am I doing this? And it was like all these dumb things that I was going to get or have or do because we were starting this business. And I was like, I'll have a pet tiger. I was like, what was
We're going to have a matching Mercedes.
I don't even know what they were. The dumbest like 20-something year old things where I was like, one day I'm going to grow up and have a house that has a foyer that's so big we could dance in it. Like, I mean, it was just this like corny thing, like to me of like what richness.
You had a pet tiger?
I don't.
What are you, Tyson?
I feel like a pet tiger was on the list. It was so absurd.
Oh, a room for all my sneakers.
Oh yeah, there was just stuff on there that like to us that was like if we make it then. But that's because our headspace was in the like what.
That's
could
what we
be.
thought success was.
It wasn't in the headspace of like I know who I work for. I'm probably going to get a 2% raise every year. Then our brains would have.
I can see why people say that, yeah, but we were not in that headspace because we worked for ourselves.
I was gonna get a pet tiger.
Yeah.
If you could pass on one piece of information to the next generation, what would it be?
Pull it together.
Pull it
gentlemen.
together, people. I mean, you guys sometimes piss me off with your, hey, listen, life is not easy. Simple as that. Life is not easy. Life is going to knock you down. You got to get back up. That's how your parents did it. That's how your parents did it. That's how my parents did it. That's why they are who they are. That's how her parents did it. It will knock you down. It is not fair. Some people are going to get the breaks that you're not going to get. Deal with it and keep it moving. Don't sit in the corner crying. Don't go this. Don't go on Instagram. No, nobody wants. First of all, I'm a big believer. I don't like social media.
Everybody.
I'm going to say that right now. I'm not a big fan of social media because I believe it accentuates people's positive lives without really looking at them. I don't need to know your life, positive or negative. You don't need to put your life on there. Just work, and it is going to knock you down. But like my wife has told our daughter a lot. When you apply for a job or whatever, there are a lot of people that are just going to automatically back themselves out the minute there is the first roadblock. If you keep on going, you will get that opportunity. Because a lot of people in this generation, once, especially after COVID, once they get a roadblock, forget about it. They crumble like a house of cards. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Man, woman, child, have some constitution. Yeah. Have some chutzpah about yourself. That's what this country, this city that you live in was built on, was never give up. Never, always keep fighting till the end. But your generation is like, oh my God, the professor doesn't like me. I'm not going to the class. What kind of shit is that? Chutzpah. I know she feels the same way, but she was saying it in a much more PC way than I was saying.
I like that. Just preach, Rico, preach all that. Yes, I'm a big would be the keep going because I feel like the air naturally gets a little thinner.
Yes.
higher up on the mountain. Like, if you imagine life kind of like a marathon, there'll be people who are like, I'm in the first 50 yards, now I'm in the first mile. But, like, by the time you get to the 26th mile, everybody already
A lot
quit.
of people have dropped
It's just,
out.
like, don't quit. And I'm with you on the, like, the softness. And we just sound like old farts now. But, like, the softness does drive, I think, me as well as our generation a little crazy.
By the way, this is the Get Off My Lawn portion of the K&A podcast.
This is the, like, I walked up and down in the snow to get to school both ways, whatever, like up a hill. This is what old people used to say. So now we're the old people. But, like, yes, the softness drives me, like, to channel my inner Miley Cyrus, it's the climb. Like, there's so much joy in, like, the come up, like that grind, the working, that's wonderful. Like, when you get punched in the gut, like, that's the good shit. That's the, oh, and it ended. Like,
that's where the creativity comes in.
That's where the that's what makes Mike Tyson. That's what makes, Michael Jordan. It's like all the shots you miss. It's all the gut punches. That's the stuff that makes you stronger.
It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy.
This whole kind of like, something bad happened, I'm quitting. Like, oh my God. Like, no quitting. Like, just no quitting. Like, keep going. Get back on the horse. Keep trying. And being so, okay, can I curse? Stop being so fucking sensitive about everything. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, no one's coming for you. No one cares about you.
No one cares about you.
No one cares about, like, this whole, like, this hurt my feelings, that hurt my, get over it. What do those people have to do with you and your future and your family and your wallet? Nothing. Keep going. Just this whole, I feel like, my recommendation would be resilience. Be more resilient. Be tougher emotionally, physically. What, you know what I mean by that? Like, just be tougher in terms of, like, continuing to progress on. This whole kind of like, hold on, there's a speed bump in the road. Oh my God, now my car's broken. No, just go over the speed bump or go up the hill. Like, it's not.
People want to get a shortcut. It's like I heard someone say in a TV show, the people who take the shortcut, that's the longest road. It's the shortcut. The shortcut is the longest road.
There is some sort of saying of, like, I'm going to botch this. I'm, like, the worst at botching these things. There's something about, like, don't give up on what you really want for what you want right now. Like, it's like, don't trade off these, like, long-term goals for, like, these immediate little things that seem seductive and exciting. And, like, is it really worth it, or do you want to get over here?
The immediacy is not worth it. Like, your generation, I believe, wants everything now, right now, and they're not willing to wait. If you are willing to wait, it will be so much sweeter.
Yeah, hold on. I've been working 5 minutes. I want to be the manager and make $90,000 and have 5 direct employees.
I want to be the manager of a mattress firm selling 10 market.
Quiet. Like, just, can you pay your dues a little bit? Like, that drives me.
We've had people like that, and they don't work here anymore.
Don't.
For the final question, what advice would you give to someone who feels like they haven't found their purpose yet?
Just keep searching. I mean, just keep searching. Don't give up. Just if you haven't found your purpose at 60, we had a problem. But if you're at 20, just keep going. Just keep going. Try new things. Try new things within that purpose. Like, come at it at a different angle. But just keep going. I feel like where we at today, like, generationally, society and all that, I feel like it's very easy to squash someone's dreams, especially with social media, like a lot of negativity. Just keep going. If you really have a love and a passion for it, just keep going. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. Life could throw you a curveball and then you got to figure it out, but especially if you're what would you do? Oh, if you're single or you don't have any kind of responsibilities, keep going.
What are we talking about?
If they haven't found their purpose yet.
You're kidding?
What advice would you give to someone who haven't found their purpose?
Oh, okay. My advice would be, stop thinking that your purpose is hiding behind a tree in the woods and that you gotta go find it. Like, I think that's not true. Like,
they're not gonna understand that. What? A tree in the woods?
Did you understand what I meant?
I get it. It's kind of like
I feel like there's this
you're
myth.
actively searching for something that's just going to come naturally.
Well, I feel like there's this myth that, like, the real you, or, like, your purpose is, like, somewhere out there. Like, just keep searching for it and you'll find it. Like, I don't think it's, like, hiding behind a tree somewhere. Like, I think that purpose is something that you figure out, to your point, like, through doing things, trial and error, exploring things, and then whatever starts to click and starts to feel right in your gut, and what feels right in your soul, we're like, I like this. I would do this if nobody ever paid me for it, or I would, like, professionally, or like, I love this thing so much that, like, even if no one ever saw it or everyone knew it, it would just give my soul energy. That's your purpose. Yeah, I mean, that could be like, you know, I don't know, being a preacher, being an artist. I mean, it could be anything. You'll know, because it'll feel right. It'll feel like I want to do this in my spare time. I wish I could do this professionally, but it doesn't pay enough. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's the stuff that you only discover that, though, if you try lots of things, to your point. But it's not like the real you's like out there lurking and you got to find them or something. It's like you got to, I guess what I'm saying is you kind of create purpose rather than finding it. Because I don't know, if you had asked me, like, when I was a kid, like, are you gonna grow up and, like, be an entrepreneur or run a market research firm? I'd be like, what are you even talking about?
You want to be in the Love Boat. You want to be Julie.
They don't even know y'all don't know what that is either, right?
No idea.
Oh my God! Look up the Love Boat on YouTube
Love,
and Julie.
exciting,
She was the
and
cruise
new.
coordinator.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to be the cruise director, or
Cruise
the
director.
activities director on the Love Boat when I was a kid. Anyway, you don't know what, but you, over time, you're like, oh, I like this. This brings me joy. That brings me joy. And then those things that bring you joy that you feel like you start to get a fire in your belly about, like, that's your purpose.
Also,
like
your
that,
purpose cannot be financially driven.
No.
It can't be. It'll never work. It can't be that. It can't be, I want to have my purpose because I want to make a lot of money. It never works. That's not the
like, in
worst.
the dream world, those two things come together.
But definitely not with the objective of making a lot of money. Your purpose is something that you have a passion for, a fire, a drive that has nothing to do with money. The
Right,
money
your-
will come.
But your purpose, like you were saying, was about, like, being a great father, being a great husband, being a great
Right.
son. Like, that doesn't pay anything.
No.
Like,
I would have a job.
purpose to me is something that's way bigger than a career.
But
You know what I mean?
purpose
Like,
is very
that's-
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you guys for asking about
Yeah.
the purpose. And you can see we have no clue what our purpose is.
We have no purpose. We have
what other
no
people's purpose should
clue
be.
at all.
But I know it'll
These two probably have more purposes than we do.
more purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's, well, I think we put a lot of pressure around that of, like, what are you going to be? What's your, it's like, I don't know. Like, that's a lot for someone, especially a young person.
And
I
if
feel
you
like-
say, I don't know, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
You're,
I
not
think
suppo-
that
really,
that's-
you're really
yeah.
not supposed to know until it, like, hits you on the top of the head one day. You know?
Well, especially I feel like when you're young, like,
Yeah.
just have that be a time of discovery. And I mean, did you guys think that you'd want to
Be running this dumb podcast
podcasters,
here?
you know, 5
No.
years ago? It's
Who
like,
would've thought?
you try things.
You
you're
guys
like,
barely put on
this
your
is why
underwear
I'm
every day.
here. And then ultimately you're like, oh, this feels good. This is why I'm here. Like, I think this is what, and then you'll have a kid or you'll get a different job, and I think purpose can change too.
Yes.
Like, I think that, yeah. And then you'll start to think about, as you get older, things like, what's my legacy? What do I want to leave for my grandchildren? What do I want to do for my community? Like, I think there's these phases of life. Have you ever heard this, where it's like you learn and then you earn and then you return? So it's like you guys are in that learning phase of just, like, soak it all
Definitely.
in, figure
Yeah.
out how to be good at things, figure out what you like, and then the money will come. You know what I mean? Like, the money comes with it, and then ultimately you're like, how can I give back financially in terms of my talents, all that stuff. Like, when you're at our age, now we're kind of at that return phase of, like, what do we do to, where you went through the learn phase. Like, we're still trying to learn, but, like, where you went through those phases, and then now we're at that phase where it's like, okay, what do I want my legacy to be? What do I want?
Mentoring, giving back financially to the, and we're doing a lot of that.
College,
Sending kids to
doing that
college.
stuff that, like, just feels good. And so now my purpose is, like, I think it's to inspire others. But, like, when I was 20, I would have been like, to get a good job is my purpose. Like, it just changes over the course of your life, I think.
Now my wife wants to have a well in Africa.
I don't.
You told me that when we dated. And I told you I didn't
I
want
was
to do
so
it.
turned
And she
off
was
by
like,
him.
I'm so turned off by you. I'm like, why do I want to open up a well in Africa? I don't know anyone in Africa.
Okay. In my defense, we were dating, and you know when you just make idle conversations with your partner, I would hope, about who are they, what do they want to do in life or whatever. We went to go see a movie one time that was about this woman who
Oh
was
my
doing this
God,
really
yes.
these really great deeds. She was helping, like, cure AIDS and, like, whatever. So after the movie, we go for a walk, and I say to my husband, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, or kind of. I was like, what do you want to do with your life? And he was like, nothing. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? So I was like, well, I mean, do you care about, like, kids or, like, animals or, like?
My answer was no.
He was like, no. And I was like, really? What about orphans? What about people?
No.
He was like, no. And I'm like, what kind of sociopath are you? Like, do you not have any, like, causes or anything that you believe in? He was like,
Again, my answer was no.
So then I was just like, I don't think I like you and can be with you. Like, is there nothing above and beyond? And he was like, no, I'm not interested in any of that. So anyway, it's just kind of a funny story that like it's he's so kind and would give you the shirt off his back, but like he's not a cause kind of guy.
Wynne is all about the causes.
I'm all about
not
like,
me.
let's help this man on the street. And he's like, keep walking.
Yes. She wants to give money to the homeless people in New York. I'm like, they're just going to go to the liquor store and buy a $5 bottle. You see, he's agreeing with me. You see what I mean?
Yep.
And she wants to give money going, they're going to go buy a meal. I'm like, no, they're not. They're going to buy a $5 bottle of liquor.
You gotta buy them the meal to make sure that they actually get that.
And even like they'll probably sell it down the block for $6.
Okay.
My wife is she
I
believes
didn't grow
in
up around.
Yeah,
in
she
New York
believes in
City, so
humankind a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very jaded New York City society like you two do. You know what it is.
Yeah.
She grew up in Kingsport, Tennessee, where there are no homeless people.
Right. So when I saw one, I was like, what? I gotta fix this. He's like, there's no fixing this. I'm like,
By the way, one time we went to the Dominican Republic, she wanted to fix the entire economy of the
I
Dominican
couldn't even
Republic.
go on vacation. I was so mentally gridlocked. I was like, I gotta fix this economy.
I'm like, no, you
and
don't.
he was like, no, you don't. And I was like, listen, we gotta think about importing, exporting. What's going on with the currency here? And he's like, no, stop talking. Corruption. That's what's going on here. And I was like, okay. He was like, you can't fix something that's like governed by corruption. I was like, touche. I had not thought of that. But in my heart, I wanted to fix it.
You guys got any more questions that we can just rattle on about? No?
Let's have an.
Is this it? Well, this
gonna
was
say what day it was. I was
fantastic.
gonna
You
say
guys are
what's happening
excellent hosts.
That's all.
Next time we'll see you on CNBC. You guys are incredible. It was a great time. I'm so glad that Wynne and I were able to do this. I'm very proud of you, my friend. Very, very proud of you. You're doing an excellent job, Kenny. You're an excellent co-host to this guy. You guys balance each other perfectly. Yeah.
I never would have dreamt it, Adrian. You were so quiet.
You were
for
so
like
quiet
20 how
and
many years?
introspective.
I'm like, does this boy talk?
I thought you were a mute.
And then now you're running a podcast.
You're on a
Good
podcast.
for you.
I hope we do better than the guy with the
No talking about people on air.
the guy with the postman guy, the black guy. I hope we do
Sean?
better than him. Yeah.
I hope you did.
I mean, maybe we could do better than Kelvin. We don't want people cry.
Oh, Kelvin. I love that episode.
Or
Shout out
Arlette.
Kelvin.
Big shout out to Arlette. Again, I am last on the list. I had other family relatives that he interviewed before. And I'm supposed to be his favorite relative. No, but you guys did a great job. Thank you so much.
You live in North Carolina.
Okay, well, that's true. Thank you so much. You guys did a fantastic job. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Honey,
Appreciate
what you think?
having me.
Amazing.
Amazing job.
You can see that we clearly like to talk a lot. So
We talk too much.
Thank you for asking us lots of questions and spending your. Can I say?
New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve.
Well, it's gonna air not on New Year's Eve, so I was
No,
like,
but
can I
this
say
is
It'll
New
be
Year's Eve.
the second episode of the New Year.
After he
Right.
comes back from Mexico.
But currently, it is New Year's Eve, and they are choosing to spend it with us before they go get their party on. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That being said, this was the K&A podcast. Hopefully, we reach 100 by the end of the year. I appreciate you guys for coming on. You guys mean the world to me.
It was amazing.
Maybe we'll get to 100. Can we get to 100 for this guy?
Off one.
Or one?
Off one.
Let's get to 100. Come on.
I should subscribe.
Subscribe. Some random person. Yes. One. Can you please
I'm
subscribe?
gonna get the kids. That's
Some
three
random
right there.
person in Minnesota. Can you just click on the subscribe button? Come on. Let's go.
That being said, this was the K&A podcast. Can you close it off with
All right, peace. That was fun.
Nice.
Fun. You with the twirling of the stuff over here.
Yeah.
Really good. I had a good time.
We'll come back for a part two.
We'll come back for part 2 if you need it.
See you later.
Get home.